Hello, everybody. Welcome back. You are now tuned into a special episode of the Forbidden Scrolls Live.
Mhm.
Sorry about the past few days. We are very busy men. We usually stream on Sundays and we couldn't do it last Sunday, but we're giving you something. It's Tuesday night. We're having a little fun with it, and we want to talk about the subject that everybody's talking about at the moment, the secret chambers that have been discovered underneath the Giza pyramid complex.
Oh
We're going to
yeah.
dive into some, well, you know the text, the Keys of Enoch specifically. And we're going to read one of the keys, which is pretty much a chapter out of the book. And it talks specifically about these structures, and it talks about a little about what this complex is specifically made for. We're going to dive head first into the woo tonight. So I hope you guys brought your tinfoil. You know, I keep that thing on me. It's in my back pocket. But we're gonna get scientific. We're going to actually try to see the legitimacy behind these claims, the technology
Mm.
used to understand, to figure out what kind of chambers, what kind of voids there are underneath the ground, and I don't know, just go left, right, up and down with it. So let's have some fun. You know me, I'm
You
XD
know it.
Bake the Wise, joined by my brothers again, Tyler and Taylor, Taychilla and Magma Sloth.
Yeah, and so
SAR, you got something to say?
the Keys of Enoch, it kind of predicted this, and it was written in what, the 70s, 1972 or something like that. That's kind of wild already. I mean, I know there's been predictions of this in various woo circles, new age kind of circles. I feel like Edgar Casey channeled something along these lines, and then I know there's uh people even further back claiming there's stuff beneath the pyramids. We'll get into it later. Da Vinci actually drew out a diagram claiming there was something underneath the pyramids.
Yeah.
And what was it? There was even a Greek philosopher, it might have been Socrates or something, who claimed that there was something under the pyramids. That what you see on the surface isn't all there is. Fascinating stuff. I'm excited to jump into the technology behind this. The synthetic aperture radar, uh, Doppler tomography. Um, oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that first one there. Let me guess. Yep, that's Robert Grant posting that.
Yeah. He's a G.
Yeah,
Shout out to Robert.
he's a G. Yeah, there he is highlighting different structures he found on the image. Um, it's fascinating because I mean, just think about how mysterious it is. You got this massive mega structure. That's not all there is. There could be a vast complex underneath it, and what are the implications of that? That's what we'll get into. There's so many theories floating around. The pyramids could have been a power plant. It could have been some giant power plant structure. There's plenty of evidence to back up those theories, like what's the point of these ventilation shafts and residue of like liquid erosion? Where are they running liquid down these channels? Apparently, if you filled up the king's chamber full of liquid, it wouldn't actually go into the sarcophagus because it would drain out of other channels. Then there's the theory it could have been a consciousness transportation device. Like you'd climb into the pyramid, lay down in the sarcophagus, your consciousness would transport out towards a constellation or something like that. Um, that, of course, lines up with actual Egyptian mythology about it. That's kind of what they claimed. It helped whoever they would lay in that casket guide them into the afterlife and all that. But I'm excited to jump into it. Um,
Yeah.
Shout out to those t-shirts. I see you got those pulled up.
Oh yeah, those are
So
just for
there's
the
some fine
people.
t-shirts.
Don't mind them. Don't mind them. I mean, obviously, you like what we're talking about, go check out the store. We got some shirts. You buy one of those, and you're helping us actually build a mind, body, spirit conglomerate, a mind, body, spirit force to be reckoned with on planet Earth. But enough talking about the shirts. Uh, it is crazy. The different theories behind the pyramids. You know, I love the Keys of Enoch theory, which we're going to dive into pretty deeply right now. J.J. Hurtak is one of the first people to actually speak about the Egyptian chambers in this esoteric manner. Even Robert Edward Grant talks to him as the grandfather of esoteric Egyptology. There is a lot of sacred geometry encoded within all the architecture in Egypt. Look at, what is it, Mysterious Egypt, that one of the first esoteric Egyptian documentaries that came out. I watched it when I was young. It was on TV. It was or Magical Egypt. I forget what it was, Mysterious Egypt or Magical Egypt, one of the two. And it explained how the different temple complexes along the Nile River correlated to the different chakra systems and correlated to like the different parts of the body, so that like the people and the monks who were in the throat chakra temple, or the temple that correlated to the throat chakra, they would meditate and do all their daily routines and focus all their energy based off like throat practices, while the people who were in like, the lower part of the temple or the higher temples, such as like the crown chakra temple, they would focus all their energy on being like that. And by focusing all those temples specifically on different chakras, it would make the Nile come alive. It would activate like a full
Wow.
body system. And it's a very intricate sacred geometrical infrastructure that these ancients built into their cities. Even though we want to say that they were just dumb playing around in the mud with sticks, they were actually doing extremely advanced things with their city structure. Da Vinci was obsessed with this. I couldn't find a high res picture. I know Robert Edward Grant said there's a high res picture on Wiki or something. If you could try to find that, but I can't find it right now. I only got like a blurry Instagram picture. But
I got a I got a timestamp of his video. I could pull that up.
yeah, that'd be cool because there's a high
Might
res
be better
picture,
resolution.
and we could dive into some of those timestamps later to while we're reading. But
For sure.
Leonardo and Robert Edward Grant, they both have a great breakdown of what the pyramid is. And if you actually look at what Da Vinci's drawing, it's almost hard to decipher it, because this man's drawing like dodecahedrons and icosahedrons in like the pyramids,
Yeah.
and it's his mind is, I think he was able to visit the Pleiades. That's why he was so good. But I mean, let's be real with it. He could draw perfect human beings because he knew the sacred geometrical patterns and the formulas behind all of nature. Nature follows a specific pattern, like the Fibonacci sequence. 1 plus 1 equals 2, 2 plus 1 equals 3, 3 plus 2 equals 5, 5 plus 3 equals, you get what I'm saying, and so forth and so forth and so forth, all the way up. So, if once you understand that, like it's like this, it's this part of your finger, this part of your finger plus this part of your finger equals that part of your finger, that part of your finger plus that part of your finger
Mm.
equals that part. So like it's a little ratio that goes all the way up through your body. And what
Perfect ratios in the whole body.
and that's why they could draw perfect humans, and that's why they could draw perspective, and that's why their art was so
Mm.
good, because they knew the secret formulas behind to draw perfect people. We don't do that. When we just draw on a piece of paper, we're just like house, person. That house is way too big for that shadow, and the perspective is wrong. So just art stuff.
That makes sense.
And he was, because he knew sacred geometry, and he outlined all of his paintings before he drew them. That was the mathematical geometrical formula he used. He also superimposed this over what appears to be the pyramid complex, the pyramid structure. I need a better picture for the people, but you guys can kind of see it right there. Um, and we'll dive into that a little bit more once we get a better picture, because not right now.
Here, I'll
But I am of the camp to believe, I'm just gonna throw it out there because you know this channel.
let's hear it.
I think that the pyramids were built by or with the help of non-celestial entities. I mean, non-terrestrial entities, celestial entities.
Non-terrestrial entities. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like we got to give the humans some credit. They're so anatomically modern humans. They still had our brains. They're very capable, but could they lift those massive stones?
I
I don't
don't know,
know.
dude.
And I
We
mean,
don't.
there's people who say it was the Nephilim. There were giants lifting these blocks. It would have had to have been some pretty big giants. And then I heard, if they were that big, they would have been kind of lanky, maybe kind of clumsy. Maybe they wouldn't have been that strong. I don't know, but I don't think it was physical beings lifting those stones. Celestial beings, I could see that. Whether that's uh, invisible angelic beings lifting the stones using powers, power controllers, or if it's a flying saucer, beaming up a stone and setting it into place.
um, yeah, very interesting theories out there, specifically for the Urantia book readers out there, because I know a lot of you guys are watching this channel. What do you mean? No way, it can't happen. We'll pull some quotes later to appease the blue book gods, but if you can just suspend the disbelief for a second, and I guess you can kind of fit it in by saying the midwayers could help levitate blocks, and if that's the
Possibly.
case, were the rebel midwayers able to also help move blocks in a certain way,
Oh.
or are the pyramids some type of unrevealed celestial architecture that is just part of the normal plan but is not
Hmm.
revealed inside of the Urantia book? And is the pyramid that Imhotep built per the Urantia book the Giza pyramid? Because that's the main connector right there, because the Urantia book says that the greatest of the human built pyramids was Imhotep. But we do have a unverified source of information, unorthodox source of information from the Metzaverde transmissions. Blasphemy! Crucify him! From the Metzaverde Urantia book group, and they give some more insight onto this.
Ooh, okay. Okay, I'm not
But we'll
privy to
bring
this.
that up later. We'll bring that up later. I'm just trying to get the UB community riled up. But
I
this
mean,
episode
come
isn't
on,
just for them. We're talking to. Trust me, we're not.
let
Yeah, we're going
let's
everywhere
be
we could.
honest here. All of our
I don't want to
sources
take
are
away.
unorthodox.
Yes, 100%. I don't want to take away from, the possibility that humans just built these big pyramids themselves all alone,
Hmm.
but I think to say it like that, you almost have to put yourself in the materialist category because all of the spiritualists recognize that there are many sources claiming that the pyramids are both an ancient unknown technology and that it was somewhat built, or the knowledge of that technology involved celestial sciences communicating
Hmm.
with beings from other worlds. So I can't take away from the fact that from the spiritual sources, there I got multiple books and saying that Giza's influence, was non-human. But we'll definitely get into that. I guess my some of my top sources, the Law of One talks about the how the Giza pyramids were built in a unique manner that says it was sort of like thought creation from the Ra social complex, which is a civilization from Venus. Um,
Hmm.
the Emerald Tablets claims that Thoth, the Atlantean, built the pyramids. Um, and they're saying that Thoth was like sort of a mortal being who gained immortality through the secret sciences and led multiple civilizations over the ages.
I have a
And
theory on
that,
who Thoth
yeah.
is.
So
Ooh,
I know it might be controversial, but I think Thoth might be a midwayer, dude.
you think? I was
Yep.
thinking it might be Melchizedek.
But
yeah,
I
but
don't know.
Thoth is known to like have lived through many ages. Melchizedek was just a couple hundred years.
Okay, okay. Midwayer would probably line up a little better with that.
Yeah, because they
Uh,
would appear like freaking fucking angels to us if they're full of power with all the wisdom and everything. Like, damn,
yeah.
yeah, and they'd be on planet forever. But yeah, some cool theories. I like Well, let's jump into it. Wanna you got any
All right.
clips?
Yeah. So here, I'll go ahead and share my screen here. So I'm sure y'all have seen plenty of headlines about this from numerous websites. Um, switch over here. So There were tons of different headlines, all over the place. Daily Mail, there's like Business Insider, whatever. All of them kind of say the same thing, surface level. Uh, this Italian team has claimed to have uncovered some secret structures hidden deep beneath the pyramids, using this SAR technology. Now, apparently, this was leaked. They actually weren't ready to officially present this information yet. Um, and then, of course, because this is kind of outside of the mainstream, it would have been rejected by their colleagues and their peers. They kind of presented this at a conference in Italian. Um, I got it pulled up here. I mean, it's all in Italian. I know there's a transcript of this like auto generated. I haven't listened to it yet. Some people have. There's a guy in particular on YouTube who listened to the whole thing and kind of gives a rundown in English of what they talk about. But yeah, that's worth checking out. I guess they go in depth in all of their findings. But um, I want to bring it back to this paper that they actually published in 2022, where they actually talk about this technology they're developing. Synthetic Aperture Radar Doppler tomography reveals details of undiscovered high resolution internal structure of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Now, of course, this is before they actually discovered there were massive structures underneath it, but the abstract here just says a problem with synthetic aperture radar is that due to the poor penetrating action of electromagnetic waves inside solid bodies, the capability to observe inside distributed targets is precluded. Under these conditions, imaging action is provided only on the surface of distributed targets. The present work describes an imaging method based on the analysis of micro movements on the Kunum Khufu pyramid, which are usually generated by background seismic waves. The obtained results proved to be very promising, as high-resolution full 3D tomographic imaging of the pyramid's interior and subsurface was achieved. Khnum Khufu becomes transparent when observed in the micromovement domain. Based on this novelty, we have completely reconstructed internal objects, observing and measuring structures that have never been discovered before. The experimental results are estimated by processing a series of SAR images from the second generation Italian Cosmo SkyMed satellite system, demonstrating the effectiveness of the proposed method. And of course, this is a big read here, very scientific. But they show here like the structure of the King's Chamber, for example, the kind of support structure they had built around it, and they kind of go into how they were able to interpret that. There's a lot of math and algorithms. They actually have a lot of filters they process this information through, which I find absolutely fascinating. There's some cool psychedelic imagery here that they take kind of as they're processing this. But you had mentioned a post actually by J.J. Hurtak and Desiree kind of mentioning that. And that might be a good thing to mention here because, we'll be talking about the Keys of Enoch. Then I got some clips I could actually kind of play going off of that because J.J. Hurtak actually has a very valid skepticism about the SAR technology and how it would actually be able to penetrate that deep. Even though it does validate his claims he made, he's very familiar with the SAR technology and its limitations. One thing I think he may be unaware of is they aren't just using the SAR technology alone. They're actually doing a shit ton of processing to this, running it through algorithms to focus on these micro movements. And of course, what they're doing here, even though it's a satellite far away, they're actually picking up vibrations, taking multiple high resolution images, and it's actually sensitive to any little wave, like including sound. They're picking up like movements of cars from Cairo and wind and stuff like that. But they have all these filters they're passing it through to pick up only a frequency range of seismic waves affecting each pixel on the screen. So they would look at, for example, like the bricks on the face of the pyramid, picking up just within that certain range the seismic waves. They could actually pick up echoes of internal structures through that process. That's how they did it. It's absolutely brilliant the entire feat of engineering that went behind this. And that alone is a pretty impressive accomplishment. Um, Notwithstanding the whole structure they, 3 years later with this technology ended up discovering, I think this paper alone is pretty impressive. Probably kind of fell under the couch and was forgotten about until this finding. But uh, yeah, if you have that J.J. Hurtak post pulled up, I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen here.
Yeah, I got a couple things I'll probably respond with. Um, yeah, so the entire SAR technology, it is very interesting how it does kind of validate Hurtak's claims, but he also
Mm.
has some skepticism that we'll get into right
Yeah,
before we start reading it, so that we can get the good and the bad, the salt and the pepper. We're not just feeding you one side, people. We're not just biased. We're giving you both sides. But what you were talking about with this technology, what it's synthetic aperture radar. So they're using, like you said, radar to scan the ground and create a bunch of images, but the synthetic aperture comes from doing multiple scans because they can't get the picture in one go. So they have to wait for the satellite to do a couple rotations around the planet, take a picture, a little picture, wait 20 something hours till it comes back around, take another little picture, take another little picture, take another little picture. And that's what synthetic aperture radar is. It's been around since
that's right.
forever. It's been around for a long time. But these guys are using it in a specific type of way, which makes it very different. Like you
Mm.
said, they're measuring micro movements on the Earth's crust, which is a reliable only because you're measuring the very surface. Like they were saying, it's not really ground penetrating. You're only scanning the surface of it. But they say that seismic activity and lava or magma activity, your people under the fucking
Uh,
surface of the earth going
Magmas. Yep.
all the bunch of magmas, all that seismic activity apparently makes a type of sound wave or a seismic wave, and it reverberates. If it reverberates off of a cavity within the earth, it will be able to be picked up by our instruments. I don't know if he's mixing his data with seismic data or if he's just measuring the surface based off of seismic activity moving the crust. Everybody, you know that guy D Duncan, yeah, you know what I'm talking about, the YouTuber. He it's a great
uh,
YouTube channel. I'll put his video in the link. Actually, I'll probably pull it up right now because he actually has some cool comments about this.
okay.
He says what it comes down to is you got to take it for what it's worth because nobody can look under the hood, so to say. Nobody can actually check the algorithm for what it's really doing.
Mm.
So if you can't check the algorithm, because they're claiming to use an entirely new AI algorithm that synthesizes data, and I don't know if he's synthesizing seismographic data and synthetic aperture radar data or what he's doing, but it's his own algorithm that he made and nobody can really check the algorithm, so it's like you gotta
Mm.
kind of trust my data output and
Yeah,
not my program or software.
it's a
That's
black box. You can't see
exactly,
inside
you
of it.
can't see inside of it, so
Yeah.
that's the catch 22.
Yeah,
um
there are a few flags that come up to raise skepticism. One of them being uh, most of the members of this Italian team just so happen to be prolific in the UFO community, and they're all very into the
just so
esoteric
happen to be
Egyptology.
exactly they
So
all
it could be
hang
a
out
little
with JJ
biased.
Hurtak on the regularly.
Yeah. With
I mean,
that said, though, I mean, like,
but they're
if
the
we
ones who
had
fund
the,
these missions, you know what I'm saying? They're the ones who fund
Yeah.
it.
that's right,
The traditional world is not looking for underground
that's
cities
right, that's
under
right.
Giza.
They're
Exactly.
obviously very capable scientists, and I mean, come on, if we had the funds as some woo-woo truth seekers, we would go on some crazy missions to fund like looking for this kind of stuff. So I mean, like, they're scientists, they're very capable. That doesn't mean just because they're scientists they can't also have some curiosities into the unknown. They're breaking new ground. They're doing what we wish most scientists would be doing.
I just had a thought, like, so those Nazca mummies that are still making the rounds at a lot of like
Mm.
universities who are whichever ones are actually willing to take it seriously.
Hey man,
Yeah.
It's
I want
almost
people to take the
like,
live stream seriously. Why you gotta bring that up? I'm just kidding.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's it.
I'm just kidding.
I guess for a large part of the world, the scientific world, big there's like claims about like ancient finds that it's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like they don't take it seriously per se. Now, I guess this is, it's partly because it's a new research. They're using a somewhat of a proprietary method. I guess they have some scientific papers on their method. But
Mm.
until somebody fully kind of recreates it and then goes out there themselves and does the test again, then it's basically the news headlines are all going to focus on this one story. And without doing the necessary, it's easy to comment without doing too much necessary work, which really the work is all in, does their method, how accurate is their method, like can we test it on other systems where we can, like, say like a mountain where we do have access to all the passages inside. It's like, okay, can they take their tech and accurately map it all out? um, so yeah, there's definitely a lot of questions, but on the flip
Yeah,
side, this could be a true discovery. They're the first people to use a new sort of scanning methodology that might be able to reveal more than we've seen before. So that's how I think about it. Like the pioneers of the world, they're not going to be right about everything right off the bat,
that's
but
true.
they are gonna like push the ball forward and allow everyone to ask new questions and get some more excitement, and then better validation, and like, yeah, they might redo the work with better after, now that more people are looking at their scanning technology.
True that. And I mean, like, so they claim their method is basically scanning the surface and then using those pixels, and from those individual pixels, they're able to pick up the difference, comparing the images, the difference between, like, because of the radar bouncing back, the seismic vibrations, how it's disturbing, which is kind of wild to me. Like, how could the equipment be that sensitive to pick up micro vibrations coming off of the surface? But I mean, they seem very capable. In that research paper from 2022, they lay out all the algorithms and mathematical formulas for the filters they're using and all that. So I mean, like, technically, if as a skeptic, you were equipped with a satellite with synthetic aperture radar, and you had a team of people with advanced programmers, and you could implement this, you could probably reverse engineer what they're doing just based on principle. Um, I kind of trust their method. It seems legit. I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
you would be able to hoax a massive scientific paper like that, you know?
dude, this is a. I shared my screen with you guys. This guy named Scott Manley. He posted this video, I think, 4 years ago. Yeah, he's been.
Okay.
He grew up on this. He was eating this shit
This
for
weird
breakfast
trick.
before the pyramid chambers were were discovered. The only reason why we're all like, oh man, excited about it. But let's see here. Show my own. Hmm.
Nice.
I don't know how to.
Hmm.
There it is. Show non-video participants. All right, check it out. You guys seen it?
Yes.
Over a surface. The radar is pointed sideways and downwards so that it covers a patch of the surface. As the radar pulses are emitted, they reflect upon surface features on this flat surface, and the reflections are picked up by the antenna as it returns to the satellite. Now, because the radar beam is covering a finite section of the surface at an angle, objects on one side of the patch may be closer to objects on the other side, and therefore the reflections will come at different times. Now, to be clear, it's a common misconception that satellite radar mapping systems point the radar straight down underneath the satellite, but that doesn't work because you need to have a different time from different parts of your patch, and if you point it straight down, they all come back at the same time. So we know the distance to a feature on the landscape, But the radar beam is a finite width. I mean, remember, to focus radio waves, you need a large antenna, and that applies to whether you're receiving or to broadcasting. So you can draw an imaginary equidistant line on this flat surface where the object could be inside that radio beam. We need to approximate the shape of the surface, of course. You know, for aircraft, you assume it's flat. For satellites, you have to at least account for the curvature of the planet. So as the vessel is carrying the radar across the landscape, the distance to each radar return will change. It'll start further away and it'll decrease towards a minima when it's closest, and then it'll start increasing before it moves outside of the radio beam. So this curve is called the range migration curve. And since we know the motion of the antenna and the shape of the surface, we can figure out exactly where the reflection should be on that surface. And of course, this can work for multiple radar reflections just fine. And this is an example I made. I have a circle of reflectors, and when the antenna moves by, the reflected pulse timings change, showing all these different nice curves. And for each reflection, we can then build up the probability of the object in the area we're covering, you know, and draw this out as a sort of probability map.
So that's like a good little example of how it
Nice.
works. So it's constantly moving, taking pictures and scans of the Earth in little strips, and then reconstructing the radar reflections as it goes over it.
I love people like this on YouTube who can just nerd out over a subject and then articulate it in a way where they have a complete grasp of the subject, and then create like visual representations or actually be able to implement it in program or something like that.
And then a little bit more from this guy.
Reflections. We can watch the land around volcanoes as it rises and falls by millimeters as lava moves around under the ground.
That's the point I wanted to make. So like, yeah, they can, it's that precise. They can
Wow.
measure the ground moving by millimeters when lava goes underneath it. And it's a reliable data source. I just wanted to show you guys those points so that you could see how reliable this, you know, this equipment, this instrument, this technique, this SAR is. They've been using it for years, but this is just a new technique of using this technology. That's why I'm trying to wonder. I'm wondering, is he mixing it with seismographic data, or is he just measuring the differentiation? Like, just because you're measuring the surface differentiation, how would you understand there is a cavity underneath the surface?
What he's claiming, and I actually have a good clip here from this interview by Robert Grant. He's interviewing this guy, Dr. Manu Safesede. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce his name. They're both it's a very high level discussion. They're both experienced doctors.
We'll throw that in the description.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. They're both doctors, experienced like in the profession. They both have advanced scientific knowledge of scientific disciplines, and they're both Egyptologists, so you can see why they're good buddies. Just as a side hobby, which is almost a full-time profession because they're so passionate about it. But this clip here, they're talking about the actual oh, here, I'll move over to this clip. They're talking about the kind of how these limitations were overcome, because what the claim is by this Italian team is that they're getting the seismographic data from the radar by observing the pixels. And one of the limitations, like you mentioned earlier, D-Bake, was like the satellite would have to orbit around the Earth. You'd have to wait like a few days. It would come back, then you would take another picture. They found a way of taking these pictures kind of all at once.
At once. I remember him talking about that. Yeah, instead of having to travel all the way around there, it's like tick, 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 and being able to measure the differentiation in pixels and millimeters by the Doppler shift if it was red or blue, right?
That's right. That way they can actually detect the vibrations happening on the surface. They can actually somehow detect these micro surface vibrations and filter out if it's like seismic waves versus all the noise, and then get those seismic waves, and then pixel by pixel figure out like what is the intensity of these seismic waves vibrating the surface of this stone, which blows my mind. You can actually get that level of precision. But I'll go ahead and play the clip. This is what these guys got to say about it.
Yeah, share your screen.
It should be shared.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, I see it. For the viewers on YouTube though, D-Bake, since Discord is kind of tiny, it won't be too big for them, but
Oh yeah, I always
I don't know
stretch
if
it out.
that's fixable the way. Oh, you do. Okay.
Cool.
I get stretchy with it.
Good.
To the tomography,
Right,
but
right.
now I'm really thinking, geez,
Yeah.
somebody needs to get in contact
Right.
with NASA again to get that going.
Yeah, the tomography is one dimension, right? You go from pixel to a line of pixels, and he specifically chooses certain lines of pixels because, and that how he does that, I don't know yet. I'd have to ask him, because in the paper, it's not always clear how he chooses them. He shows the tomograms, but anyways, with the tomogram, once it allows you to trace the signal back to the epicenter, I think. So, like, you're listening, let's say, let me just do this real quick here. So you hold this against your ear. And so imagine that this is a tomogram, right? This here, this ruler. And I'm going to hold this string, this being, let's attach this underneath, and I'm going to vibrate this, the rubber, and see if you can hear this.
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay. Yep, I sure can.
do you hear that amplified?
Yeah, it's kind of like if you put your head up against a guitar and you start strumming. the
Yeah,
strings.
exactly. Right. So see what's happening is
Yeah,
you're basically
amplified it.
your ear is the satellite, and you except that you're in the air, but in this case you're listening on the ground in that pixel over here, and you're getting a signal from the void that's under here, right? And so and then that's why the tomogram is important. The tomogram is a positional. It helps you to position where the signal is coming from. There's of course several voids in theory, right? So you have a tomogram that's getting bombarded with seismic waves from all kinds of different voids, and that's another additional complexity in the methodology from Biondi, that he now has to also spread out that composite signal into its component epicenters, right? And the way you do that, I think, is that's why he has a Fourier transform. Fourier transform, people that do music know that. What it does, basically, you have a complex sound wave, for example, and then you break that complex wave into its component elemental sinusoidal waves, right? And then you can remove, for example, a sound that you don't like a hiss, like a noise, a hum, or something like that. But if you can't really erase that from the entire sound wave, other than you're going to destroy your music, right? So what you do is you separate out, by doing a Fourier transform, you separate out the high frequency, low frequency, whatever frequency that noise is, and then you can just erase that, and then you reassemble the elemental waves back into the original music, the complex wave. So Fourier transform is basically a frequency a separator.
Yep, absolutely.
And so I think what Biondi does, because he has a complex signal at each pixel, he has a complex bombardment from various voids that are coming in, right? He has to basically do a Fourier transfer after he makes his tomogram to separate out all of these frequencies, right? And then he goes through the math that I just mentioned to you with the cross-coupled oscillator, right? To reconstruct the longitudinal oscillations underground for all of these.
And that's the translation part we don't understand yet.
Yeah, I've looked at, actually this morning, we were looking at the formula development, and so I am getting ready to be able to reproduce fragments of it with my team, but we don't have the whole thing yet. It's because the problem is we're not giving all of it in the papers.
And who are the people on the team that you're working with on this?
One of them is he is a former chief geophysicist at Shell Corporation, so he used to be in oil exploration. So he's very familiar with remote sensing, and of course for them it was.
All right, is there any more? Yeah. It makes sense. I mean, just think about a laser. You point a laser pointer at something, that laser is going to stop when it touches that surface. It's like we're firing lasers, radar directly down at the ground. If you're scanning the ground with laser and you keep having that laser on the ground, you would be able to measure, like, if something bumped underneath. Like, let's say I had a laser pointed at a table, right? And that table is stationary. Like when you get a laser rangefinder, it's going to tell you that table's that far away. But if somebody bumps the table, you're going to see the range change, right? That's pretty much what they're doing, but from lasers, but from satellites in space. So they're doing it all the way from space and just keeping that field of light, those photons, on the surface of the Earth and measuring the seismic waves that come through. And that was a good example he had with the rubber band and the little ruler. But
yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and show for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. Somehow,
can you zoom in on
these
that?
are the 3D. These are the 3D renders of what they supposedly found. They found these structures inside of the pyramid, and then they found these massive columns reaching down underneath. I believe 8 columns with spirals. And it's unclear what those are because they were kind of blurry in the images, but they could be coils, they could be channels, they could be staircases. Then he claims there are these massive cube-like voids underneath. And so there are claims like, is it a city? Are these massive caverns? Are they magma chambers? This was a power plant. It's unclear. Very interesting stuff, though.
Yeah.
What if those are silos?
Ooh.
If you've seen this, if anyone's out there seen the Apple TV show, The Silo, it's from a book. There's like people living in the silos. So how crazy would that be? And an ancient civilization, an ancient Egyptian brotherhood has survived for 6,000 years under the pyramids.
In the Silos, starring Denzel Washington, Dedrick Baker, Taylor Verser, and Magma Sloth. Nothing but blood and spirituality. No, Daddy, please don't kill me. I'll save you. Boo, 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 boo. Christ, my lord, it is nice to see you. You are my son, in whom I am well pleased. Take this M60 and annihilate the unbelievers. Coming to you now. Coming to you soon. No, sorry. No, Dedrick, that's blasphemy. Coming to you soon. Sorry, guys. I'm having fun here. Yeah, so tomography. Are you still sharing screen? What's happening here? What are we doing?
No, my camera did its classic glitching out.
Okay,
So I had
you wanna exit yo screen share, por favor, and let's I say let's dive into this. Let's dive into this Keys of Enoch type shit. But
let's do it.
I'm gonna riff off of your last interview. I think it'll be a good little segue. Let's share what I got. Where were we at? Sorry for ruining the tempo.
Well, that's what we do around here. We upset the tempo of the mainstream.
Amen. I listen to noise music.
I listen to noise music. You wouldn't understand. I met a lot of people like that when I was going to DIY music venues in Denver. People who listen to only noise music. They're so edgy. You wouldn't get it.
So smart. All right, check this out.
Thing. It was like, wait a minute. It's exactly and the geometry that, you saw the thing that Alan and I did on, called the Holy Grail of Geometries on YouTube. And we showed how we use Metatron's cube to be able to do all of the geometry on Giza Plateau, right? And that was also the musical keys, right? The Metatron's musical keys. Now, it was interesting because I presented a lot of this stuff a few days ago. I was in Arizona with J.J. Hurtak, who wrote the Keys of Enoch.
Right.
And he actually said something to me. He said, wow, then this was the first time I really had a chance to really talk with him at length. I showed him a lot
He's
of
the
this stuff.
godfather of esoteric Egyptology.
Yeah, he's the godfather of esoteric Egyptology. And he said to me, he said, Robert, I have to say, he goes, you know more about the codes than anyone else I've ever met.
Well, that's a big compliment coming from him.
It really was. And I took it exactly that because, I mean, he is the godfather of esoteric Egyptology. But
So that's the man right there. We're about to read out of his book right now. We're going to jump into it. Robert Edward Grant, heavy hitter in the industry, and one of the guys that was on the team for this new revelation, talking about exactly how they did it, coming together, mentioning J.J. Hurtak, and we're about to read from it. Shout out to J.J. Hurtak. He's about to be on the podcast pretty soon, so keep an eye out for that. Keep it logged. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you like what we're talking about. Hit it up, and don't forget to check out his shirt. We got these shirts right here. So I need a quick little bathroom break, and then I say we jump into the keys. So keep the people
All right.
entertained.
I actually got a clip I skipped over last time. If you want to click in, I'll share my screen here. I think he's running it, so he's got to be able to click on it, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna have to fill the space with something else.
All right.
It's recess, everybody. Go crazy. The teacher's not in the room.
Woohoo! We're gonna change the subject. No, just kidding. Well, so apparently that whole issue with the satellite taking something like 14 days to get back into its position, they had actually bypassed that, applying some special spectral filter, which is that clip I pulled. That they go into it pretty well, but they're able to extract all that information just right there in a blip, which is pretty outstanding. And yeah, I mean, like, I had trouble finding clear images of the actual what they picked up with the tomography. I've seen like blurry little images from articles and headlines and stuff. I'm really curious to see the actual info dump of it. I suspect it might be in that new like 4-hour Italian conference that came out. So I'll have to skim through that. But just from what I've seen, I mean, like, it's a little difficult to interpret, which kind of raises some alarms. But you can kind of see it. Like, you can definitely see there's something there under the pyramid, these giant void-like structures, and they do kind of line up. They kind of look like pillars. You can kind of see the horizontal, slanted-looking twirls going around it.
I guess the question is, were those ever designed to be entered? Are they an enterable chamber,
know.
or is it something that we will never get access to?
Yeah, what if
You
they're
know,
full of
there's
mud? I don't know. I mean, obviously they're
Right.
voids
Right.
for it to send back some seismic echoes or something.
It's only for astral projectors.
Yeah, right.
Only for the initiates,
Yeah.
the illumined.
Speaking of which, didn't JJ mention that in that Facebook post? They had used astral projectors to go into the pyramids or something?
He said remote sensors, I think. I
remote
thought he was talking about
sensors?
remote viewers.
sensors, yeah.
Remote viewing? Same thing.
Well, okay, so before we jump into the reading, and that's funny, we got a chat in the live chat right now. I don't know, it was a little bit ago, but he asked, have you guys read the Keys of Enoch? And that's funny. Yes, we have. I've read it over 10 times, and we're about to
Over
read it
10
right now.
times.
We're about to read it right now. I read it backwards one time in the mirror. No, I'm kidding. Upside down, naked. He
Bring
says
your
this.
aura at the same time.
On the claimed Egyptian findings at Kefren, J.J. Hurtak, Desiree Hurtak, yeah. You have probably heard of the excitement from an Italian team behind several social media reports claiming that there is a city underneath Giza, specifically noting a series of passages under and around the middle pyramid on the Giza plateau, Kefren. Although their data may not stand the test of time, I showed in the illustrations of Giza in the Keys of Enoch, 1973, plates 5 and 6, verse key 1088, and further wrote about it in key 408, verse 149, which we will take a look at before the end of this stream. He wrote about it. We will find the mysteries of the Giza Plateau, the pyramids above the ground, and the sacred temple chambers below. He called it in 1973. This follows the book we co-authored with James Brown called Giza's Industrial Complex 2019 and film reports where we used remote sensing and discovered the Tomb of Osiris, some 100 feet beneath the Kefren Causeway that runs towards the Sphinx. I didn't know he helped on Giza's Industrial Complex, that book. That's a big book that a lot of people read. I didn't know he helped on that. Hurtak's everywhere, man. Here we are part of the Shore expedition in 1997, 2 years before the discovery was broadcast on Fox television, whatever. Unfortunately, the SAR, Synthetic Aperture Radar, on which I have written several published papers, really cannot clearly penetrate the stone and rock layers down to the depth the new researchers are claiming. Ouch. I know from my own research, shared with Lambert Dolphin of Stanford Research Institute, that our team of geologists and academic scientists were able only to penetrate with radar to a depth of 200 meters, far from the current claim of 2,000 meters. Exclamation point. So that's just a little bit. We don't have to read the rest, but he's pretty much just saying that even though it's validating his claims, let's not get too hyped up because he doesn't know if this is a valid technique of sensing underground temple complexes. But it's exciting, so let's read some of what he got. I got key 108 up right now. Let's see how far we can get.
All right.
And I'm gonna jump into it. But before I jump into it, I do want to ask you guys to hit that subscribe button. If you are already subscribed, then you already know the deal. You're rocking with us till death. I appreciate it, and I appreciate all the donations and all the messages. Like I said, I'm trying to get through all the messages. I've been a busy man. I will get back to you, but I really appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button if you're a new viewer and you like what we're saying and you're not already locked in. Hit that subscribe button so you're up to date with all the celestial information. Go take a look at the shirts. We do got shirts. They're only $30. We're trying to build a mind, body, spirit app so everybody can have that mind, body, spirit progress in their phone. It's like social media, but it's going to be the future. It won't be based off your booty and how many cars you got and how much money you got. It's going to be based off how much mind, body, spirit development tokens you're gaining. You know, that'll be the future. Let's get on this wave before we start diving into that weird AI dystopian society. So you can help it out. You can help us out. We can build the kingdom together. Buy a shirt. They're only $30. We're only making a $9 profit. It takes us $21 to manufacture them. So every $9 that you guys hook it up with, we can get it closer to changing this planet for the good. Earth will not be a failure story. It'll be a success story, and we are the underdog. So let's fucking band together. Throw some $9 at the pot and let's see if we can make it fucking change. So appreciate that shit. And hit the like button so we can get to the front page. Get us on that bad boy. Key 108. The key to the pyramid sphinx in the middle of the earth is the high frequency solar vehicle given in the symbol of the lion sun, and in the symbolic structure of the space-time pyramid, which gives to all levels of evolution in our zone the mathematical, astronomical keys to the surrounding higher evolution. All right, that's a lot. That's a lot. You got a little picture right here. I'm going to zoom out. It's a cool little picture. You got man evolving up into the Sphinx. And the Sphinx got boobies. First thing that stands out to me. But, you know, we're not being weird here.
Well, they're, you know, you can see here that they're encompassing both the feminine and the masculine, you know, in these people. There's both the male and the female, and then, you know, on the Sphinx as well. So it's sort of humanity as a whole. You know, this type of symbology, you know, might seem like strange, but we all know, it's just an ancient form of art and symbol. We do equally strange things, today that in 1,000 years they will look at our art and be like, so strange why they chose that. At some
Yeah, true.
point the symbology almost like loses touch. Um, I don't know why they had that idea, that whole like human heads on animal bodies thing, in the ancient world. But at the time, it probably made sense to them.
Totems, all that kind of shit. Uh, all right. Enoch explained how the vehicle of the pyramid sphinx has been placed in the middle of the earth as a living model of man's destiny to indwell in a higher evolutionary body once he can center his solar and magnetic energy with the alignment of the pyramid, which is the architecture of space. Furthermore, it shows how the face of the higher evolution is able to travel through our sun system and embody its consciousness in our solar evolution, in the body of our lion sun. Thus, the Pyramid Sphinx is an educational vehicle showing how the Brotherhood of Light can interpenetrate the pyramidal space of man, so that the race of man can be synthesized into new forms of light embodiment to go beyond our immediate sun system. The Sphinx symbolizes our body of space and time within the lion solar evolution that must be conquered by man before he can wear the face of brilliance and indwell in the presence of the master architects of light. Does that make sense to you guys, or do you need any translation?
No. Can you just explain to me, do you have any idea what the lion sun of man is? Is that like the solar plexus? What is lion sun? What is that terminology there?
Yeah, pretty good analogy, the solar plexus. The lion sun, he says that every star gives off a different vibration, red to blue, some more blue, some more red, orange, yellow. And there are certain solar systems that are binary and trinary and even more. So some planets get exposed to the light of multiple star systems. So imagine if Earth was around a trinary star system. We'd have 3 different star systems. The Urantia book talks about this. I'm not going to pull the quote right now, but do you know what I'm talking about? I think it's Anova. It's that quote
It
about
was like the
Anova.
first world. It was like the first world was
Yeah,
a
you know
binary
what?
star system.
I can't do that.
The first inhabited
I
world.
gotta do it. I gotta do it for my people. I'm pulling it.
I think you're right. I think it was Anova.
Anova. I am right. Look at that. I got the Urantia book memorized, guys. Isn't that crazy? The oldest inhabited world of Satania, world number 1, is Anova, one of the 44 satellites revolving around an enormous dark planet, but exposed to the differential light of 3 neighboring suns. Anova is in an advanced stage of progressive civilization. So, back to your question, the Keys of Enoch further classifies these as like different types of systems, and that the higher, more advanced systems are more exposed to binary and trinary systems, and that the lowest, and he calls it the most dense materialistically, or the light behaves in the most dense form, like dense matter that we have now, is around a single star system in the dark orange red phase, and that's what Earth is.
Oh, okay.
And he calls this the darkness. It's as dark as you can get. It's like he calls it like the ball and chain. It's like you're chained to the darkness when you're around these star systems, because it's very dense and very materialistic, and it's easy to get cut off from the Father. And he talks about channeling the light from Orion as a sword to cut through the material gravity.
Interesting.
Like
okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
so the lion sun would be our sun system, creating a very physical, dense time-space arena that we experience. And the lion, the keys say, is the angelic symbol for that system. So that's why the Sphinx is in front of the pyramids. It's a message to the celestials that this is a type orange-red single star system
I mean, I'm sure they could look at our chart to figure that out. But I was going to ask about that. If that was, if that was the like symbology behind the Sphinx being a giant lion statue, because I've heard it could have been like far enough back that the constellation of Leo was behind it, and that's why they built it as a lion, and then later on chiseled a human head over it once the face was eroded. But that makes sense.
Yeah, and then you see number 2 where it says the Pyramid Sphinx is an educational vehicle, showing how the Brotherhood of Light can interpenetrate the pyramidal space of man so that us, the race of man, can be synthesized and go into new forms, pretty much carry on the new mansion world garments, put on the different embodiments of light.
Oh, that
Beyond
quote there.
our immediate sun system. So that's when you die and go to Orion, you know.
Okay.
And Orion is a trinary star, or 3-star system, you know.
Okay. Now that quote talking about the Sphinx being an educational vehicle, do you see a tie in there with the Regulus prediction of
the halls of
Bledsoe?
Amenti,
And yeah, I wonder if there's a connection there.
the Hall of Records, the lost records, the
Yeah.
education, you know, teaching. I can definitely see that. He also says that you can unlock it via like acoustic, harmonic. If you get your mind, body, spirit complex to a certain level, and you like acoustically give off the right beat or mantra, some shit, secret doorways will open up and Hogwarts will appear.
Spotlight guy in the comment asks, "Who's the Brotherhood of Light?"
The Brotherhood of Light would be considered the material beings who exist on other planets who can traverse intergalactic space.
Okay.
You would call them the Galactic Federation. Sorry for saying it so long-windedly. Sorry. It's the Galactic Federation. The Brotherhood of Light. Think of all the good guys banded together like Star Force, like Star Trek, Star Force. That's a hard ass name, Star Force.
Rave at the pyramid.
So that's the Brotherhood of Light. Thanks for paying attention to the chat. So yeah, so that's just, he's saying the same thing as your answer book, just a little bit different.
He uses his own special way. He is a linguistic professor, wasn't he? So he's really into the words. Loves playing with words.
And he says the pyramid is like the higher dimensional form, and that's why it's right near the Sphinx. So it's showing you like the high dimensional form, the tetrahedron Merkaba, and then its manifestation in the lion Sphinx, the man embodied in the lion. And he claims that it was originally made with a lion, with a human face, not a lion face.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that was just a theory after all.
Yeah. But yeah, I was keep going. To teach man, the masters of light only need to project their face through our solar evolution, since they have evolved into whole light bodies capable of using a thought form technology to interpenetrate our solar system with their power of light. This allows them to teach dust world creations to evolve beyond the evolutionary face of their sun and become sons of God, capital S. The vehicle of the pyramid Sphinx sits on the threshold between our 0-point evolution and higher light technology as the stepping stone to other consciousness sun systems beyond the limitation of our solar light zone. I like how they call it our solar light zone and not like our solar system. That's interesting.
Ooh, okay.
The pyramid Sphinx symbolizes how the mind of the higher intelligence must center itself within our solar evolution in order to educate man to use magnetic lines of force and to build consciousness pyramids, which are the key to open up the threshold controls necessary to leave our consciousness time zone. So he's saying that the pyramid Sphinx Giza complex is one system, and its appearance, its artistic message is telling you that you are intelligent thinking human, a man, a woman, currently incarnated in the lion phase of the physical phase of a star, but you have the ability to traverse up into the stars with the pyramids pointing up to Orion, if that makes sense. So it's like one big message.
Okay.
So it's a symbol. It's symbolizing how, you're a higher intelligence, but you need to, your higher intelligence incarnated in these magnetic lines of force, which is our star lines of force. And that's what you see, the intelligent face on that lion head. But right behind it, it shows you the pyramids pointing to Orion. So in that same picture, that same symbology, it says, but not only are you this, you have the ability to go there. It's like a message that you can put on a planet for any alien species to drive by and be like, oh, we get what that means,
Oh, okay.
So it's like an
And
artistic message.
and if you want, you could read like several paragraphs, and then we could all jump back and forward and take turns reading if you don't want to take on this entire paper on your own.
Oh, for sure. I'll
I
do
got the
a couple
PDF
more.
pulled up.
I'll do a couple more paragraphs.
Cool.
Enoch further explained to me that when man has opened the pyramid sphinx with the higher consciousness of light and connected the energy entrances of the pyramid and the sphinx with each other, he will understand that he has completed this phase of life and is prepared for the energy vehicles of the Brotherhood to return and take him into the next evolutionary station. He said, remember, there is a light energy pyramid in every evolutionary membrane. I remember when I first read that and I was like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? And now I really get it. It's true. There is a light pyramid in every evolutionary membrane. Merkaba fields, exactly. Look at when a sperm meets an egg. Perfect example. Look at crystals under an ion microscope. Yep. Crystals under an electron microscope. They look like Merkabas. It's everywhere. Solar systems.
And then by evolutionary membrane, is he talking about maybe our biomorphic field?
Yeah, I would say that exactly. Yes, that's a great way to put it. Your biomorphic field, even on the cellular level, if you could scan it, you would see many Merkabas emanating from cell walls.
We have these divine patterns that structure our morphology, and that's why Egyptian artists could find these perfect ratios, just as you were explaining with the finger and all that. Like, everything's perfectly symmetrical. I could pull it up later. There's a really cool document that had some illustrations showing the human body and the layout of all the organs and all that, and it's like perfectly harmonic. But it's something you wouldn't notice, especially in anatomy. You see this gross. You open up the cavity, it's all wet, and it looks all kind of distorted. But like when you look at a cross section and you actually look at it mathematically, it's perfect harmonic ratios, and there's like a polarity. There's like, you could say like red or blue, left and right. And like certain organs are on this side, certain organs are on this side.
Wow.
And it's like perfectly placed.
That's
kind of wild.
that is very wild.
And it lines up with that like tetrahedron. The brilliant Buckminster Fuller, he's got this masterwork, like 2-volume text, but he talks about the tetrahedron a lot in evolution and in architecture and all this stuff and tensegrity. But he talks about that like it's the most efficient form for like simply packing spheres together, and then like laying out geometry using that as a template to make more complex forms. So it makes sense.
Yeah, and it all ties back to Da Vinci drawing that picture of the pyramid, and he has those weird sketches of dodecahedrons and Metatron's cubes within that pyramid that he sketched. It's very, why would he do that?
You're right. Ooh, good point.
And Enoch explained to me that the Great Pyramid is a geophysical computer showing the half-life of our local universe within the geophysical foundations of Earth's biophysical, geophysical, and astrophysical meridians. Moreover, It is also an astrophysical life station showing how the geoid function of our planet is connected with Orion, which is the region for positive programming in our universe. That's a beast right there. That's crazy. So like, I don't know if you can imagine in your head, but like the Earth's, imagine like a polar shift, like the Earth's crust just kind of going, spinning at will, separate from the magma and the core layer underneath, the surface spinning, but you have like an anchor point, the Great Pyramid. And somehow it's in the center of all the landmass of our planet Earth. If you put that in the center, you get all the meridians, the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn and everything. It's fucking crazy. That's in the center, and it's measuring the meridians of the geophysical, biophysical, and astrophysical templates. Like kind of we were talking about the Kali Yuga and the galactic plane versus the ecliptic plane versus the cosmic plane, whatever. Like all those lining up, but on an Earth scale, and the pyramid can measure all that. And then how we are gravitationally linked with Orion. It's a pretty beefy paragraph right there. He also makes the claim that every time there's a polar shift, the pyramid like lines up with one of the magnetic lines, if that makes sense. So it acts as like a marker, like a shit. Like
what he's suggesting, the entire pyramid tilts a little or something? Could that be the springy structures underneath on those columns?
No, he's saying like last polar shift, it was like facing on the North Pole because the electromagnetic north and south face like that a different way. So like the pyramid is always it's like a marker for when the surface crust shifts, and it always shifts into like a specific like sink.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
That landmass floating there, that tectonic plate, is like a compass almost.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a good way to put it, like a compass. That's the word I was looking for. Compass, like a compass. You want to carry on?
Yeah. So let's see. Oh, here we go. All right, so you are on
8.
8? All right. You just read 7? Okay. The Great Pyramid on the Earth is, in reality, in conjunction with a pyramidal energy field under the Earth, which together form a diamond. From the central focal point, there is a network of magnetic resonance which connects all of the pyramidal energy fields around the Earth into a relationship of an icosahedron. This icosahedron grid is a monolithic structure of interlocking tetrahedrons and octahedrons, which give the true harmonic reciprocals of light acting on all points of the grid. So is he suggesting...
That just fucked with me right there, because that just reminded me of what Robert Edward Grant said in that interview about Da Vinci's drawing, how Da Vinci's drawing icosahedrons in that pyramid.
You're right. He brings out all those geometric shapes. Is that suggesting that every megalithic pyramid kind of structure, at least like the significant ones or certain ones, are placed very significantly on the Earth across the different nations to form this larger grid geometry? And that maybe they're connected like Wi-Fi nodes or something?
Exactly. And there's specific epicenters, and the Great Pyramid is one of the main ones.
Okay.
Like where the light or the electromagnetic forces or the ley lines or the gravitational forces propagate. You can predict where they propagate based off the geometrical lattice template.
Well, I know Graham Hancock would go wild with that theory. Studying the possible lost civilization, and I mean, that's a whole rabbit hole to go down on its own. The similar symbols and motifs you see across different nations, from Peru to Egypt, across Africa, through Asia, like you see these similar designs. Like there's this carving of a giant H-looking symbol. You see the handbag logo That was in Göbekli Tepe, which is like even more ancient. Was that like 6,000 BC or something? We don't even know what culture originated Göbekli Tepe, so it's very mysterious. But it does seem to imply there was some kind of culture across the earth. And this, if this is true, this page in the Keys of Enoch, it might imply that maybe these like sacred truth seekers across these different cultures would maybe climb up to the top of the pyramid, meditate, and they would like tune in to that collective unconscious or something and exchange knowledge. And maybe that's where they got some of their similar symbols. You know, I mean, like the most logical explanation is it was passed down and people transmitted this knowledge as they traversed different landscapes. And I mean, like, in the Secret Science of Miracles by Max Freedom Long, I think, talks about how the Hawaiian kahunas, their Hawaiian secret society, they have all these words and stuff that were preserved from African language, which is very mysterious. Like, how did African spirituality and language and certain words and the etymology of these words make it to Hawaii?
Ooh.
That shows this has been preserved for a very long time, passed down through this oral tradition and these secret societies, probably across Polynesia from Mesopotamia, and then it branched off, you know, but there might be something to that, like meditating at a temple and you can actually tap into the other like spiritual truth seekers at these other points, these like spiritual capitals of the earth, I guess, in some ancient time period that's been lost to time. All right, moving on. The true science of magnetic astronomy is to align the Great Pyramid with the constellation Orion so as to form the eye focal point to retrieve information from all points of the grid. Thus, the Great Pyramid is a model for the light continuum of the many universes connected with our Earth. With this relationship in mind, we can envision how the pyramid's unique star shafts transfer to Earth on a monumental scale, the message of the gods of the imperishable stars. Imushk.
It's Imsak. It's Imsak.
Imshka. Imsak.
Yeah.
The message contains the revelation of the true solar astronomy and mathematics that man must harness before he can leave the Earth's environment. Huh. So what is this? Umshak. What language is that? What was he drawing from here?
That's Egyptian.
That's Egyptian. Okay.
Yep. Archaic Egyptian, one of the sacred languages according to Hurtak.
Okay.
I got
I know on that.
What's up?
You got some. I know on that egg-shaped UAP there was a supposedly one of those images that was leaked of that. I actually got it here, I think. There were hieroglyphics that were like Proto-Egyptian or something like that. Yeah,
Oh
here we go.
shit! You're bringing us back to that. Well, I'm gonna barf all over myself. No
Yeah, I know
more
we've had
eggs.
enough.
No
We've
more
had
egg
enough of these
yolks.
eggs.
Shit. What? You putting something in the chat? What you got?
I don't think I have the exact photo, but
Yeah, it's fine.
there was
I
a
got
photo of that
something. I got
egg-shaped
something.
UAP. It had hieroglyphics on it, and it was supposedly a cosmic language or something like that.
Bunch of bullshit.
I think I'm gonna leave you guys here on the egg UAP topic. It's yeah, I'm
Taylor's
starting to
out.
fall asleep. Yeah, I got my it's a 11 close to 11:30 on the East Coast here.
Fair enough.
Keep it up. Keep revealing the pyramids.
Thanks for
And,
tuning in
Good
at
night,
this
my
late
brother.
hour.
So you better tune in and you better comment 100 times and like it. Let me find out you're not subscribed, dog.
I'll make my double watch the stream while I sleep.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
put it under your pillow and take it in while you're sleeping.
while you're dreaming, create a bunch of burner accounts with different emails so you can like and subscribe on each one, okay?
Right. All right. Peace.
Have a good night, Taylor.
Love you, brother. Bye. Sweet dreams. All right. So going off, I got a little video for you. I'm gonna share my screen.
Ooh, okay.
Just relating to the passage that we just read. Check it out.
With the north and the south. Just
So
like
let's
the
look at this also scientifically. The three stars in the belt of Orion in Arabic, Mintaka, Anutak, Anulam, represent a distance of some 1,300 light years to 1,400 light years. That is a vast distance to be right on target, spot on in scientific optical systems and geometries. You're talking about a super scientific civilization that was influenced either by what the Egyptians called the region of Insak, the imperishable star gods, or a genetic superior race of engineers that were able to engineer hydraulic systems under the pyramids, as well as showing, shall we say, remarkable relationships with three major constellations.
And so now let us try this.
So that's what he
Nice pull
pronounced
there.
it, the umsak.
Suck. Okay.
Yeah, and he says that's the region of the imperishable gods, or the genetic creators, or the higher evolution, the celestial personalities. He's talking about Orion.
Okay, and that explains the imperishable gods. I was wondering what that's referring to. That's a part of the Egyptian mythos. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, the region of the imperishable gods. Yeah. So isn't that crazy? The Egyptians, the Book of the Dead, all that shit, they're very close, man. You die, go into duat, you go into judgment based off your mind, body, spirit, and if you're good enough, you get to wake up on the other side in Osiris, in Orion. You know, it's pretty dope. Get resurrected like Osiris in Osiris. It's like they were getting celestial teachings back in the day, man.
It kind of sounds like it. Like they had a conception of the afterlife being on a distant location in space.
Not specifically Orion.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't have, from the Urantia book, they don't give an exact location of our local mansion world.
Because they know
system.
If you study enough, you'll connect the dots. They don't want to over-reveal.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah, over-revelation. They want us to connect the dots.
Yeah.
And I mean, you've kind of made that connection. Mansion worlds could be in Orion. I don't have an argument against it. Why not?
Exactly.
They'll proven otherwise. Let's see, where were we? I'll read another, like...
Go as far as you want, then toss it over.
I'll read up to like 14, and I'll pass it over to you. All right, so... If we look at the pyramid on the basis of the life shafts, we can trace evolution between our dying anti-universe on one hand and a rising, regenerating universe on the other. For the Great Pyramid is an astrophysical eye between the larger positive and negative cycles of star evolution charted by the astrophysical star shafts. These star shafts contain the resonance patterns of magnetohydrodynamic activities and function as cosmological calculators. Now, what are these star shafts?
The first post I posted in the Urantia think tank was about this.
I remember that.
You guys made fun of me for using this. No, he said made up words for 1,000 Alex. That's what he said. And I was like, you think you're so smart. It's not a made up word. It's a real scientific term.
It's a real word, damn it. Magnetohydrodynamics.
Just like
the oceans of the sun. Yeah. Yep. Just like triosophy. Now, what are these star shafts? Because could he be alluding to those giant column structures that were just picked up by that Italian team?
He's actually alluding to the ventilation shafts. Remember that point out of the sides of the pyramid, that point also, one points to Alpha Draconis and one points to Ursa Minor or Major, I forget. Or no, one points to the Pleiades and one points to Draconis, whatever.
In the comments, Spotlight Guy asks, ever turned slightly magnetic after handling certain rocks? I mean, yeah,
all the time.
I personally haven't got too into crystals, but I've gone to crystal shops many times with my lady. She loves collecting crystals. I mean, you know, you go in there, you get a little strip of paper that describes the effects of the crystal, and I've carried them with me. And I mean, for sure, I felt like, One will give me more confidence. It could be a placebo effect. I don't know, but like I feel good carrying a crystal around. I carry crystals around with me regularly. Judge me
Yeah,
all
he
you
does. I can verify.
want.
I mean, it don't hurt. You know, you might as well do it if it works. It's like God. You might as well believe in him because the chances of it being real, you might as well be on that side rather than it. If you're on the
Yeah.
wrong side and it's really you're fucked up, you might as well believe in it.
I mean, I use it as like memory stones. I got almost like a rosary, this little bracelet with crystals for each of the planets, and I use a little. I don't get too into astrology or any of that, but I love the idea of planetary astrology. So I got
Yeah,
like
me too.
a root chakra crystal. So Monday will be my root chakra day. Tuesday will be my sacral chakra day, and it gives me a little theme for each day. I'm like, Wednesday's my willpower day. I need to concentrate my drive and my willpower. My heart chakra day, I'm a little more open towards people. Friday, my throat chakra day, I gotta like spit some truth. Gotta articulate my words a little better. There's value even in that, just assigning value to a crystal. But I mean, like, I can see it. The structure of the crystal resonates a certain way. There's a reason it has that color, it's because of the elements within that crystal. I don't doubt that, the atomic resonance concentrated in that kind of scale, even though it's a tiny crystal, that's a lot of atoms with that atomic resonance.
Yeah.
And those coming together kind of makes a harmony. I'm sure if you're open to it, you can kind of vibe with that. Get some kind of effect in your biomorphic field. Now let's see. During previous geomagnetic cycles, the north star shaft of the Great Pyramid originally pointed towards the circumpolar star of Alpha Draconis, and the south star shaft pointed towards the Taurus Orion constellations. These alignments reveal the pyramid as an astrophysical computer showing the present life cycle as a recapitulation of the previous life programs upon the Earth. And when these star shafts will be understood, we will know that the Great Pyramid is the Ibn Betaya. Sounds like a Jewish word. The foundation stone for the living light upon this planet. Man will see that these star shafts also indicate when the Brotherhood of Light will return during the next space-time overlap to take the righteous from this three-dimensional creation into the next level of pyramidal intelligence, into the many mansion worlds of light. Just talking about mansion worlds, okay.
Yeah, I mean, is he talking about fucking resurrection call?
I don't know.
The higher Brotherhood of Light will come back and take up the righteous into the many mansion worlds of light. It sounds like a dispensational roll call.
Or the dawning of the era of light and life, where the Urantia book kind of talks about the Merantia world as a gradient between the material and the spiritual. And in a very advanced civilization, you kind of start stepping into that Merantia realm.
Okay.
And, it talks about like when you wake up in heaven on the mansion world.
Life. Damn, I hear you.
If you were to visit an advanced planet far into its era of light and life, because, there's maybe like, that's a span of thousands of years, and there's an early light and life, middle, kind of late. If you were to go into an advanced light and life, it would be indistinguishable from heaven, from the mansion world.
7th mansion world.
Yeah. And then I don't know if we should put any weight on it, but I mean, it lines up with the theme of this episode. The Regulus prediction of 2026 or whatever. We'll find something under the Sphinx. I mean, it sounds like it lines up with the end of the Kali Yuga. It kind of sounds like we're stepping into a new age. I
put half my life savings on it, dude, so I'm banking on it. I'm already fucked.
We're all in.
I'm all in. But yeah, can you start to see the similar cosmology that's being built up in the Keys and the Urantia book? He's just saying it in a different way,
Yeah.
And he refers to Michael being the sovereign mansion world. It's very interesting. All right.
Lines up.
You want me to pick up right here?
Yeah. I'll pass it over to you at this point.
All right. I'm gonna burp at some point in between this. Just letting you
Do
know.
it.
I can feel it. I can feel
Rick and Morty style.
it. Shut up. I did it right into the
There
mic
you
for the
go. Gotta
viewers.
get it out.
Unsubscribed.
The human experience right
This guy
there.
is disgusting. I don't like his hair. I don't like the way he talks.
Unkempt.
And whatever. So cute. No, I'm just kidding. Love you guys. I know you guys rocking with it. Number 14. Alpha Draconis represents the devouring. Negative entropy, which keeps the planispheres, like the Earth, chained to the entropy of singular sun systems, allowing intelligence to be devoured by the body of the lion sun. Were it not for the intervention of the Ophanim into this furnace of fire.
Ooh, okay. What is he referring to by Ophanim? Is he talking about an angelic being or an order of
And
angelic beings in the
yes.
celestial hierarchy?
Yes, an order of angelic beings, but he actually says Master Ophanim Enoch. So I'm wondering if Ophanim's a specific type of title for one-time evolutionary mortals.
Like
Ascended master type shit.
what yeah. What is it? I always forget. The Urantia book talks about this like council of ascended mortals who can take these seats.
The 4 and 20.
The 4 and 20, that's what it is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, John the Revelator saw it in Revelations. The Council of 24 Elders. Yep. So that's what Enoch is referring to. Maybe Ophanim could be a title for someone on that council, you know?
Kind of up to interpretation. I do got to say, though, I mean, like, the volume of text that this guy wrote and the level of just intellectual prowess that it exudes, like, you don't just write this on a Sunday, you know? And he wrote this in, like, in the early 70s. He was getting something, you know? I know he was very well educated. He was, like, a linguistic professor, and he got all these degrees and all that. But, like, and sure enough, he was into the esoteric. He probably read the Urantia book. He probably read a lot of esoteric texts. But there's so much unique concepts here, like the single star system. Like, where did he get that idea from, you know? And all these new ideas. I feel like he's tapping into his thought adjuster there. He's getting something. He's doing some degree of channeling here.
I agree. I mean, since we met each other, you know me. I was like, dude, this guy made contact with some type of celestial being. I don't know what the fuck happened, but something happened.
But he's on fire. He's like passionate about it.
Dude, he's a killer. He's stabbing people in the chest and twisting the knife.
And he didn't form a cult. He did all this and he didn't form a cult over it. He's like scientific and professional about it.
He's following all these rules that, you know, it's red flags. I mean, green flags. Sorry. You're like, damn.
Yeah.
He's too good. He's too good. Not in a bad way, in a good way. Yeah, we're gonna get him on the podcast soon, so check that out.
I hope so. That'd be a lot of fun.
You got this. Oh no, it's me. Orion must be understood as giving forth the positive sword of light to cut through the magnetic fields of biological limitation. Remember I said that before?
I do remember that.
We must understand the Lords of Light from Orion. So that's what he's saying. Orion must be understood as giving forth the positive sword of light to cut through magnetic fields of biological limitation. He's spitting heat in one sentence. Give D-Bake a second to fucking decipher this for you. So we were talking about sun systems before. Different suns, different stars give off different gravitational fields. Some planets can be in a binary star system or a trinary star system. We are in a singular star system. We just got one sun. Can you imagine being on like Tatooine in Star Wars? You get the two suns, right? That's a binary star system. Everybody knows that beautiful sunset with the two suns in the Tatooine desert. Luke Skywalker, Star Wars. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you're wrong. I'm not wrong. You're wrong. So, and there's also trinary star systems. So he's saying that
This Orion,
Orion has a
force.
higher gravitational light. So, okay, what he's really saying is this. The keys of Enoch refers to the keys, which are thought forms. He calls them ideographs. And they're specific thought forms that you must think in order to traverse the cosmos, in order to literally level up in the entire cosmic video game. He calls he calls accumulating these and building a consciousness pyramid. And he says this is the most important aspect of reality for growing your mind, body, spirit complex. Just like you work out, you also have to grow your mind and your spirit. And he says that there are thought forms that are primordial or ancestral to the universe and to planet Earth. So there are specific thought forms that align with the source of reality that help you get shortcut right to the source of reality. If you think those thoughts, it will shortcut you right to the source. But there's other distorted thought forms floating around the universe that you can get caught up in. Q 21st century Earth, okay? 1,000,001 distortions. Those aren't aligned with the primordial ancestral thought form. But they're there, you know. Fake tits, Botox, whatever. 1,000,001 distorted thought forms on Earth. Those are the fake thought forms. He's saying that the lion sun systems, when intelligence gets devoured, you're becoming locked into the matrix, pretty much. You're an NPC, to speak modern phraseology. I'm translating Hurtak into 21st century phraseology. This is crazy. So yeah, you're an NPC, just a nobody. That's what he's talking about when you're getting devoured, when you're chained to the conceptual thought forms of sun systems that are dark and singular star systems like Earth, when you're only intaking those distorted and degenerate concepts. But he's saying there are higher concepts that are getting projected from Orion. There are higher ideograms, pictures, mental pictures in the universe that originated and are way truer than these lower stupid Earth thought forms. You can tap into them. And one of the main thresholds, one of the main headquarters where they're getting transmitted from, an ancient point of the cosmos, is Orion. And he's saying, use the positive sword of Orion light. Take those high concepts of planetary progress, of mind, body, spirit development with your brothers and sister, with your fellow human being. Those are the high ancestral concepts that are getting emanated and projected from Orion. You take hold of those, you think them, you incorporate them, you breathe them in, and you spread them out to your brothers and sisters. When you can take hold of that light, he's saying your personality, your mind, body, spirit is literally grasping a hold of the Orion star system, those thought forms, and you're using it like a sword to cut through 21st century bullshit, decroded, distorted thought forms. So I'm translating that for you guys right now. That's what he's saying. Orion must be understood as giving forth the positive sword of light to cut through the magnetic fields of biological limitation. Does that make sense? That was good translation. Fucking lost magma there, but we getting after it. Message me in the chat if that didn't make sense. We must understand that the Lords of Light from Orion, as giving us this consciousness model of the solar sphinx to rise to a newborn creation beyond the negative energy of the immediate magnetic fields. This is what I was just talking about. Man must understand why the ancients regarded Orion, the region of the Imsuk, as the princely region amongst the stars. As it is said in the pyramid texts, Orion, the father of the gods, has given a certificate of life creation as a greater power. So yeah, you heard what I said? Does that make sense? You heard my monologue?
Yes, I did. And a point I wanted to make about that, at the top of each paper, he kind of has this fire letter symbology, and I think the reason he
I'm
does
using the
that.
bathroom real quick. Hit him with that.
All right, so it's like a flaming Hebrew character, and I think the reason he does this, and I haven't fully read the Keys of Enoch. I've just kind of dabbled in it. Not like the Urantia book. I've read that many times. I'm a nerd for the Urantia book, but the Keys of Enoch, from what I understand, every single paper is a key, and it's a different concept, like he was saying, like an ideograph, and that entire paper is to be digested as like a concept that can be represented as a symbol. And it's my understanding, I could be off on this, but each key is kind of there to speak to a different person. So like as different people read through this book, one key they're going to read like paper 108 or something, and that's going to speak to them like, oh, that's my key. And so then that person can kind of live their life to embody, like unlock that key. Like now that they have that key, they can use it to unlock some aspects in their life to fulfill a greater mission. But it's my understanding that, D-Big, please correct me if I'm wrong here. So each paper is a key, and I think the reason there's this fire letter character at the top is to kind of impress on your mind that the entire paper can kind of be digested as one key, and it can almost be compressed as like a character. So now you have this new ideographic concept in your mind that is added to your vocabulary, and you could almost imagine every single key in this book, you're kind of reading the alphabet. And each paper is the definition of each character in this alphabet. So now you can kind of speak this new language armed with that vocabulary of mind-boggling concepts that you would never learn in school. Am I right on that?
I think you're channeling and you don't even know it right now. That's what I think. I sense spiritual flame coming off your tongue, for sure.
Those fire letters were
exactly
being spit forth.
No, you said it exactly. You said it. The holographic light pictures that you're seeing in your mind, I see the same thing, and you can tell it's getting me excited. It's exciting when I see other people tapping into them Hebrew fire letters. All right, we should. This is 1973. They need remarketing.
Right.
All right, let's keep
I
going.
definitely do want to. Yeah, I want to power through this.
The pyramid texts also speak of the builders of the pyramid, the Nine, Council of Nine, who programmed in the direction of Orion. In your name of dweller in Orion, with a season in the sky and a season on earth. O Osiris, turn your face and look on this king, for your seed which issued from you is effective. Panspermia, huh? Your seed from Orion, right? You know what I'm saying? Like genetic programming.
This is a psychological seed. With a genetic seed, we can make the atom connection.
That's what I'm trying to say. The Adamites from Orion, Pleiades, the genetic templates being passed down.
And doesn't he talk about the divine image? What does he say? The divine template, something like that.
Yeah,
that's why we're not just primates. We got some divine template we're following, and that's why there might be humanoid Star Trek aliens out there that kind of look like us. They're following the same template, even if they evolved from alien-looking animals.
Yeah,
that kind of makes sense.
He refers to the bipedal hominid, what me and you, what anybody listening to this looks like, unless there's aliens listening. But yeah,
probably is.
What we all look like. They call that the Adamic species, but the template pattern, the perfect pattern, is called the Adam Kadmon, and the Urantia book would call that the Adam and Eve, the Adamic race. Yeah.
Cool.
So
that offers an explanation. And another text gives forth
the sacred message. The sky conceiveth thee together with Orion. The dawn beareth thee together with Orion. live the one who liveth at the order of the gods, and so wilt thou live.
I wonder what text that's from.
Yeah, that's
You
pyramid
have a
text.
footnote on that.
We Forbidden Scrolls. We need to read the pyramid text. Duh.
We really do. I'm very curious about that.
And like the Mayan codexes, we need to go through all the ancient ones and see how they correlate. They're all saying the same thing.
Very
You already
cool.
know it. You know they're saying the same fucking thing. These three but people get caught up in the different wording and culture. You know, it's bullshit. You know, it's the same thing. They all got from Prince's staff, Adamics.
Yeah.
All the same shit.
Well, and that's that.
There's only one story. There's no more. You know?
Yeah, there's one truth. You know, no matter how you describe it, no matter what we think of it, there's one truth. It's our job to interpret it. But I mean, like we talked about this in the Kali Yuga episode. There's this game of telephone that's played over the ages, where the same story's passed down, whispered in someone's ear, and you know, as that's transmitted over thousands of years, you know, you got to build a story around this message so it's more appealing to the children. When you're the village elder and you're telling this story, that's where you get a lot of the wild, creative Hindu mythology.
I love it. It's so
Hanuman
beautiful.
and all that, you know?
Yeah, but the picture you're painting in my head is so beautiful. It's all the same story, but different cultures, different colored people, different geographic temperatures and climates. They add their own creative flavor to it, but it's just the same story, and that's what's beautiful about it. Why are we fighting over it? It's so stupid. Join the Legacy today. We're going to synthesize all of it together. We're going to make this super freaking religion, this super race, all of it.
The super religion. We will no longer fight about it with the synthesized religious analysis provided as a service by the Legacy.
Amen. And that's why Hitler fucked up. He said, you know, only one race, one people. Nah, dude. The master race is all people blended together.
We are one race. We're the human race.
Exactly. He fucked up. So join the Legacy FHP today. Master race training.
Yeah, that'll sound good.
Yeah, right. The news. Who's this black guy talking about the master race? These three fragments from the ancient Egyptian scriptures. What?
We're gonna cut through that trigonometry.
Oh, the trigonology.
The trigonology.
Trigonometry. The advanced trigonometry.
I got a master's in trigonometry.
I'm actually a trigonometrist. Okay, sorry guys.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, These three fragments from the ancient Egyptian scriptures of light show the direct relationship between the pyramid and Orion through the body of death and resurrection of the ascended master Osiris. Yeah, we really need to study the Osiris story. I feel like that was an ancient way of depicting the resurrection in the mansion world. And as we look deeper in, Osiris is depicted with green skin. I remember, you know, the Urantia book says the green race died out, got blended into other races and massacred, unfortunately. But I'm sure they had great leaders, you know. And what were those leaders remembered as? Was Osiris one of those great spiritual leaders from the green race? Because he's depicted as having green skin and all the
Interesting. I can see that because there are those Egyptian depictions of colored characters.
Yeah, people. Then they color them on purpose for a specific reason to show you something, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, something to keep in the back of your mind. And as we look deeper at the meaning of the pyramid, we are to understand how it gives the model for human consciousness for programming and consciousness resurrection. Ooh. For in it, we have the mathematics of why the ancients set the head of the soul journeyer facing south at the bottom of the mastaba shafts. For it was to help the soul join the lords of light in Orion. Thus, the star shafts in the Great Pyramid are intended as the introductory ways of consciousness preparation, whereby not only Osiris's soul, but the souls of all of those who had been initiated into the pyramid might actually ascend to join the masters Enoch, Heru, Tahuti, and all masters who serve the councils of light in Orion. To this end, all right, is Enoch. Yeah.
Gotta look that up.
Heru, Tahuti.
A character in Stargate. Ancient Egypt Online, Horus the Elder.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, it's Horus. Okay.
It's Horus in a different phase. Tahuti is Thoth. I know that.
Okay.
To this end, the pyramid can be understood as the model for consciousness exodus from one three-dimensional time set within the Earth's magnetic fields into a multi-dimensional evolutionary controlled by Orion and the regions of the higher intelligence. This is the sacred region of the sky. Egyptians coded Sak, Tibetans called Tak, and the Hebrews called Kesil. So if you want to put a pinky up and you want to act like you're smart, if you don't want to call it Orion, you can be like, or Sak, or Tak, or Kesil. And it's easy to remember because Sak and Tak, same shit, but,
Same etymology, yeah.
And then Kesil is the Hebrew version of Orion, so.
Oh, man, I'm a sucker for that comparative religious research. Yeah. That's cool.
Right. So these star shafts function as a theoretical mapping of magneto-hydrodynamic star channels connecting the magnetic and electromagnetic grid patterns of star alignments. Damn. The mixing arrangement is used to measure the geophysical cycles of change, polar wanderings, tectonic changes, and activities, and activates magnetic gravitational wave coding for consciousness deliverance, aka beaming your consciousness to Orion.
Wow.
Furthermore,
that makes sense when you put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, you can only astral project so much with your body, right? Your body's a strong mechanism, but you almost need an amplifier device to really send that shit across the cosmos. And it seems like the pyramid is kind of that device, if you meditate in the sarcophagus at the right time with the right mantra, your consciousness will get shot out to Orion.
I really do wonder if that's what it was originally used for and intended for. And then later on, like generations later, there's a king that was so greatly revered, they put his body in the casket or something like that and closed it up. But that was like after the fact because they lost that knowledge.
They never found a body in the casket.
Oh, okay. I feel like that was a good little fun fact that I was not aware of.
We need to look this up. Sorry, I'm reading it off of headlines that I read a long time ago. Supposedly, they found like an inch or two layer of DMT in the bottom of the sarcophagus when they first opened it up.
That's a trip.
Yeah, seriously. Literally a fucking trip.
They would trip on DMT, lay in the sarcophagus, and then Robert Grant.
No. The text, the explanation I read was that your consciousness shot out to Orion. You would be in there for like 3 days, and then you'd come back. Wow. And when you were there, your body would go into a meditative state, and your sweat would secrete pure liquid DMT.
Whoa!
And then it would crystallize at the bottom of the sarcophagus, and that's what we witnessed when we unlocked it again.
Oh, that's nuts!
Yeah, right. You heard it here first on the Legacy FHP, people.
You're tripping naturally so hard, you're just sweating straight up ayahuasca.
Yeah, you're not even here. Your consciousness is on Orion. Your body is just
on overdrive.
Yeah.
Wow. And then Robert Grant mentions in that really good interview, there's evidence that he found in his kind of expedition in there, looking around, that there's chips on the floor right in the center of the room. It looks like they actually moved that sarcophagus because it's not like mounted to the floor. It's just heavy. They might have scooted it across the floor into a new position, and it might have originally rested right there in the center of the chamber. I don't know, make it that what you will. Better access to the star channels. Maybe they had to move it, get better reception.
Yeah, you're right, because, Earth moves, gravitational tectonic movement.
Yeah.
Furthermore, the Great Pyramid was built for the last geophysical shift to instruct man in the awesome and regenerating architecture of cataclysmic geology. There exists a sacred formula to be read on different levels to function as a mathematical key. The formula is expressed as, turn on your phone if you're listening to this and look at the screen. It's on screen right now. It's a weird little,
131.
it's a Merkaba-like
919.
shape. Yep, it's all crazy. I was told that the higher evolution in working with the grid structure of the Great Pyramid used this formula to coordinate the Great Pyramid with the other grids of light. The formula includes the following mathematical arrangements: 131, 111, 939, 919, where 1 and 9 are superimposed upon the same space. If you see at the bottom right there, the 1s and the 9s in the bottom left and right corners. Is this trinary? Interesting.
Yeah, it's like binary, but trinary.
Yeah. This arrangement can be used to create electromagnetic propagation functions in the midst of the lattice formation. I feel like that paragraph is a scientific breakthrough right there. If you could figure out what he's trying to say, you'd be like, you can create electromagnetic propagation functions in the midst of lattice formation. Is that like those ionized grav lift? Those, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, that just immediately here. I'm gonna drop this in the chat so you can share it. This where's the chat? Where's the chat? There it is. Yeah, here you go. This immediately comes to my mind is this quote from Nikola Tesla, and this depiction
Yeah,
here.
I thought this too. When I first read that, I was like, oh shit.
Yep, he's talking about 3, 6, and 9, not 1, 3, and 9, but
yeah,
but still.
I mean, this looks like a Merkaba. They both look like similar Merkaba grids, Maybe we were off a little bit.
He says, if you only knew the magnificence of the 3, 6, and 9, then you would have the key to the universe. I mean, what is it about those numbers? I really wonder. I mean, I don't have an answer to that, but I know someone does. If you got an answer to that, please drop it in the comments.
I know
what's Tesla talking about?
The Yin Yang twins do. 3, 6, 9, feeling fine. Boom, sugar, sugar, one more time. Get low. Get low. To the window.
Oh, that's what it is. Feeling fine.
To the wall.
To the wall.
Yeah.
To the sweat drop dog.
Exactly. So I think they knew that the Yin Yang twins knew the secrets to anti-grav.
They did. To the sweat drop down my ball in the sarcophagus of the king's chamber.
And to all them females. Yeah, it makes sense. Exactly. We just figured it out right
advanced
now.
Knowledge encoded into rap music.
We need to get them on the podcast.
What did you mean when you wrote those lyrics?
Exactly. And they break down. They get all serious. So like, they deciphered it.
You're waiting for someone to figure it out.
Behind their Ferraris and MTV crib, they press the button. Anti-grav vehicles.
Yep, anti-grav Ferraris.
By the Yin Yang twins. I don't even know if they're alive. They probably overdosed by now. But all right, the Great Pyramid is, once again, sorry if you guys aren't dead and you're watching this. I'm sorry about that. The Great Pyramid is once again being activated to coordinate with the other grids on this planet. When this is completed, the grids will be open to the heavenly Jerusalem. See, he refers to that as Jerusalem, the heavenly Jerusalem.
Okay.
Which would be the mansion worlds. We will no longer be earthbound, but will pass through the magnetic fields of change. We will once again partake in the story of the Exodus. The biblical Exodus is a micro-astrophysical and astronomical model that the enlightened children of God will use on their journey towards the greater universe. I just got a weird mental picture.
Okay, lay it on me.
You know, Exodus was like the story of being hated for being Jewish, and you had to wander the desert for 40 days and figure out who you are.
Yeah, they
And then
escape from Egypt. They go wandering. Then
But
manna
because
comes down.
and no one likes them because they're shunned, because they're different. Like, this will become a micro astrophysical and astronomical model that the enlightened children of God will use on their journey towards a greater universe. Remember the Agendanter status? They say like we'll be segregated into a different housing section of the Miranta worlds for some reason.
Or we get like a different status because we're survivors of this
'Cause we're
harsh material
survivors.
reality. Which you don't get that
Sorry.
status if you grew up on a advanced light and life kind of planet. You know, we get that because we're here on 21st century Earth.
I
Or
know,
a
but I got a weird
comparable-
light picture that my Urantia brothers and sisters aren't gonna like because I'm going expanded universe. So I'm pulling from the Calagaster papers. Ooh.
Oh God,
Yeah.
face palm there.
This guy who believed he was Calagastian released an entire set of papers. We read them because they were fun. That's what we do here. This isn't backed by the Urantia book. It's considered extra Urantia book material, which most Urantia book readers will consider blasphemy. I had to say that as a disclaimer because me and the Urantia community are fucking. We like this, and you know, I gotta represent.
I mean, it's only like 70% schizophrenic nonsense. There's some interesting stuff in there.
Yeah. If you don't read the Urantia book, if you're just let you know, Urantia book is probably the highest revelation of truth and the most highest detailed classification of extraterrestrial beings known to mankind. We hold it as a standard. We talk about it on this channel all the time. But some people have read it and they started to build their own expanded universe on it, and it gets a little bit woo-woo. So for the people who actually read the book like we do, we understand that there's some borderline schizophrenics that release their own shit under the name of the Urantia name, and it's a bunch of bullshit. So beware of where you get your fucking information from. But we read it anyway because that's what we do here. Forbidden Scrolls, baby. Don't hate me because I like to know what the enemy's thinking. You know what I mean? You gotta know what drives other people's thoughts. So if you don't know what's driving their thinking, you know, you're fucking up.
We're the Celestial Intelligence Agency, you know, we're the Cosmic Bureau of Investigation. We got to read everything and
Exactly.
separate the wheat from the chaff. You know, what's real out there.
So that was a 5-minute disclaimer on reading the Calagaster paper. He said he was talking about connecting all this. How's that connecting all this?
I don't know. How are you possibly going to connect the Exodus of the Children of Light to the greater universe?
Thank you.
Calagaster papers.
Mm-hmm. He said that a good majority of the other evolutionary planets look at Urantia as people, ascenders coming from Urantia as having cooties.
Okay.
Because we came from the Lucifer Rebellion. We're ascending mortals that came from that sector of the universe. So if you're in like the greater sectors of the universe in a non-rebellious zone, just think about it. You're biased. You grew up in the bougie place. We're in the hood, you know? It doesn't matter if you think you're tough and you came out of the hood. If you come out of the hood, if you come out of Urantia and you get labeled an Agendanter, a term that the Urantia book says that an evolutionary mortal who came from a planet that was in rebellion, who came from a planet that was in the bad sector of the universe, who came from a planet that was considered in the hood in the cosmos. That's Earth. The Calagaster papers say that the majority of Mansion World Ascenders are going to look at you not as if you're like some great strong person, but as if you're almost tainted because you're a rebellion mortal. And that's the reason why you actually get segregated as an Agendanter. Partially because you're special, but also partially because they don't know, you know. It's like you're like mixing rebellion ascenders and non-rebellion ascenders, and
Hmm.
that gives you a little bit of different light to look at that paragraph right there, you know,
Yeah.
because the story
Right,
of the
me too.
Jewish Exodus is like, you know, the Jews were getting hated on, and they were getting hated on from all sides, but they had to stay strong, you know.
That makes a lot of sense. Like, I mean, because you think about it, like the greater cosmos. If we were exposed our entire life growing up in our formative years here in this early stage of life in the mortal flesh to Luciferian ideologies, what if that's imprinted like deep within our psyche? And we go through the mansion world to remove the mark of the beast, to get training into higher Marantia Moda philosophy and all that. But like, what if there is a fear, a hesitation that like, what if they infect me with their rebellious attitudes? And we probably come out of the
Yeah.
gates like, woo, I'm from planet Earth.
And then they look at you
like
like, don't
probably kind of
associate
rowdy
with them. Yeah,
like humility. Maybe we got a great sense of humor, and that's foreign to them. Like
exactly.
I, I
But like
love
now
what
you just brought up that part though. Like you said, the mark of the beast that the Uranus book talks about. The fact that there is even a mark of the beast means that every Ascension Mantra World student is probably trying to erase that mark of the beast in order to be cool and popular up there. Guess what? You got to erase the mark of the beast, and we're coming out of the gates with the largest mark of the beast. Like,
well, what if that does leave a permanent scar on your way of thinking and your attitude and behavior?
Man, I'm gonna wear it on my chest. I'm gonna put that scar right here, but you better recognize I'm from here, Rancha. And I guarantee you, a lot of people are gonna either be afraid or be interested. One of the two, and I don't give a fuck.
I love what Rockme says in the comments here. He says, "Ghetto cubed." It's like ghetto on a cosmic scale.
Ghetto times 10 to the 23rd. Yeah. All right, let's keep it rolling.
All right.
For only the children of God have the consciousness of the pyramidal initiate, so they can join the Lords of Light in the regions of Sak, the region of the higher star evolution, and surviving the Earth's diminishing life zone.
Interesting.
We will definitely have to do a part 2 on this, and that's no problem. We can do another Forbidden Scrolls live and just continue it from here,
Yeah, you want to? Yeah, we still got like several more.
Yeah, I don't want to try to cram it in. Let's read for another 20, 30 minutes. Let's call it. You guys rocking with us, viewers? I mean, only for the live stream because it's late. If you guys watch us after the fact, then you better be tuned in. You better be taking notes. You better be buying a fucking shirt. Oh God, is he gonna plug it? Yes, I'm gonna plug it. Shirts, $30. We'll only make $9 off it. $21 to manufacture that shit. And guess what? It goes to building a mind, body, spirit integrated network so that everybody can hit their potential. Now we can stop being materialistic slaves. If you want to take this planet back, if you actually want to put some blood in the game, if you want to die, go under your grave and be like, damn, I should have done more. No, you don't want to be like that. Do a little bit more. Contribute. Join the legacy today. Fuck these shirts. $9. I don't give a shit about your $9. It's nice you gave me $9. Thanks, dog. How about you join the legacy and help other people join and hit their mind, body, spirit potential? Fucking $9. Hey, come on, dog. Mind, body, spirit progress. That's what it's about.
It's not about that, because wearing the shirt, you're representing the Foundation for Human Progress. You're gonna feel pretty proud being a part of the legacy, and it's a very comfortable shirt, cool design. And something we're all going to be a part of, it's a community.
Amen. But if you're only wearing the shirt and you're not fucking building the kingdom, I'm going to come to you personally and rip that shirt off your fucking body.
You don't deserve that shirt.
Check it out. Buy it. It's on the screen. Links in the description.
So, yeah, you read for a bit, and then you hit a good stopping point. I'll take over and read for a bit.
For sure.
I'll
finish this page.
Okay.
As man begins to unlock the mysteries of the Great Pyramid in relationship to the biblical teaching, he will understand why Enoch told me that within the Great Pyramid, within a different energy field, the biochemical functions of the body of Moses and Jesus can be found. Whoa. For they are the two highest incarnation. For they are the two highest incarnate manifestations of Jehovah within this present cycle. That's interesting, huh? That's a gnarly one to reconcile.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Jesus is the highest incarnation of Jehovah because he's a creator son. Then Moses, I guess, you
So
gotta.
who would be second in
I mean,
this
yeah,
current cycle? Because the cycle ended at Melchizedek. So
who else? Because I mean, yeah, that's the take the theosophists. That's the angle they take on it. Is that like it's Christ consciousness, and if like anyone can technically tap into it and embody it, I don't really vibe
Well,
with theosophy for
do
numerous
you remember
reasons.
the
But
title of the paper or the section on Moses that the Urantia book says?
no, I don't.
What do they call him? You know?
I do not remember that.
They call him the matchless Moses.
The matchless Moses. Wow,
Yeah. The Urantia book titles that section. So
matchless.
if
Yeah,
he
it
was
unique.
matchless,
Imagine living in that primitive tribal world and rising up to that kind of standard. And I mean, like, reading the Old Testament, they were still waging warfare on other tribes and stuff, so it wasn't that great. But, like, for a tribal, primitive world, it was the highest conception of religion.
yeah.
It stood the test of time.
Oh man, they say Moses' sagacity, his political, his generalship, everything was like top tier. He was matchless. He was. Funny thing is, in the Urantia book, right after they talk about the matchless Moses, guess who else they talk about? Akhenaten.
Huh.
And then there's a name floated through history, Tut Moses. You know, so some people think that Akhenaten and
Never heard of
Moses.
that.
Yeah, so my theory is the story from the Bible. You know, the Prince and Me, the Disney story. You know, the biblical story of Moses when Moses goes down.
Yeah, like
and then he
the
gets
Prince of
taken
Egypt
into the Prince of
movie.
Egypt. Exactly, the Prince of Egypt. Supposedly, that's this real story of Moses and Akhenaten.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
That's
there's
cool.
like some records in Egypt where Akhenaten had a brother called Tut Moses, and that Moses dropped the Tut and just went with Moses when he left.
So 40 years from now, when we're governing our own animation studio, we got to make that movie.
Oh, 100%. Yep. Yep. Brought to you by the Legacy Media Group. We'll have a sick ass name. Yeah, the Prince of Egypt again, just straight up, but better. The real story.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
You can fund it now by donating to the Legacy FHP Venmo, Patreon. Shout out to the Venmo donations. Seriously, I appreciate that. People are donating on Venmo now. It's fucking dope. I appreciate it.
That is awesome. Yeah.
If you like what we're
We're
saying, you
saving
want
it up.
the message spread. If you want to, so we got a Mind Body Spirit program rolling out, and I didn't tell you guys about it, but it's coming in the next end of this month. It's April 1st. I already have the paperwork done. Some
I
people
don't
have been
believe you.
asking about it. Some people have been asking about it, and I got you. So don't trip. I just been super busy.
April Fools. There's no Mind Body Spirit program.
Shut the fuck up. And to everybody messaging me who I can't message back, like I said, I love you. I'm sorry about that. I'll get back to you. Don't take it as me being distant. Take it as me being busy.
Being bombarded constantly.
Yeah, dude, you should see my inbox, dude. Plus I'm a videographer. I gotta do videos for other people, photography.
Yeah, you work a full-time job and a side gig as a photographer.
Yep.
/ videographer.
Mm-hmm. On top of doing the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
All right. You guys don't give a fuck about it. You don't give a fuck about me. You just want to hear what I'm saying. I'm sorry.
Mind Body Spirit program.
Yeah, I'm sorry about bothering you with my personal life. I know you only give a fuck about the Keys of Enoch. Sorry, guys.
All right, so moving on.
Did I already read this shit?
Yeah, Moses. and Jesus can be found. For they are the two highest incarnate manifestations.
Jehovah. Enoch said they are within the pyramid to show that the pyramid is the Eben Shetiyah, the foundation stone or the resonance eye for soul manifestation, connecting the office of the Christ with this planet. A office of the Christ. See what I'm talking about?
I like that.
That's technically the overseeing organization for the Legacy FHP, the Office of the Christ. That's who we officially work for.
The only government that works. Government
Yep.
doesn't work unless it is the government of Christ.
Period. He is the architecture of it. So if you're trying to create something that's outside of his architecture, you're wrong. And you need to join the Legacy FHP so we can get you right. All right. So plowing ahead. And when the pyramid is reactivated, they will return as the capstone. They will return to demonstrate the scientific and spiritual unity of all ascended masters. In this fulfillment of prophecy, Moses and Jesus will return with Uriel, the creator of the inner light, Metatron, the creator of the outer light, and Michael, the creator of this local universe. For this is the return of the programmers who do the Father's will of ingathering the righteous from the earth, who will be graduated to go to other light life worlds. See?
So I'm really curious what he's talking about with the Uriel and Metatron archangels. I've never got too into the whole archangel mythology. I know some people get really serious in the New Age community about that, but I mean, he shout out to Michael as the creator of this local universe. That's legit.
Oh yeah, I mean, he says Michael is the sovereign, Michael is the lead, the president. Everybody reports to Michael over and over and over again. He refers to him as a paradise creator's son, everything. Metatron and Uriel, he would refer to as, you would consider them like master architects, if that makes sense, from the Urantia book.
Okay.
So they're like the ones who are responsible for the architecture of the local universe or even Orvanton itself. You know, like those type of beings. So architects for the universe.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, and he might be revealing new names there. You know, there's unrevealed orders from the Urantia book, so these could be
The office of Christ. I still
I
can't
love
get over
that shit. I know, me too. I like tighten up my fucking tie.
Because I wanted to mention the book Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. He talks about how the reason civilizations keep rising and falling is this recurring pattern. It's because it's like an engine running on the wrong juice. The government always becomes too materialistic. And when you actually finally have a government where the will of the people are accurately represented, and that's aligned with the cosmic government represented by Christ, those two meet in the middle and they make a perfectly stable
That's what I'm talking
governing
about, bro.
society. And we haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, you do. You see it right in front of you. If you listen to this Legacy FHP, baby, be a part of it. That's what I'm trying to talk. Everybody over here talking about like, oh, these are nice thoughts. These are nice imaginations. I'm a real person, man. Don't judge me like I'm some fake ass fairy tale. These are very real concepts to me. And we made this channel because we truly believe in them. You want to be a focal point of the future between planet Earth and the office of the Christ, the Galactic Federation? You want to be ahead? You want to find the underground hip hop before hip hop gets hot? You want to find the cryptocurrency before it blows up? Stupid example. You want to find oil before everybody else? Another materialistic example, debate. God damn it. Do you want to be part of that spiritual advancement that takes over planet Earth like wildfire before anybody else does? This is what we're fucking talking about right here. Yeah. We take it so seriously because this is the truth. The office of the Christ. High celestial beings. Newsflash. Earth is fucked up and nobody's here to talk about it. So you got to resort to outlets like us to hear the information.
Wake up, people.
You're part of the fucking battle. You're part of the team. You're part of the organization. We are the focal point between higher celestial beings. Sorry to say it so weird. Should I translate it into modern 21st century Earth Catholic and Christian terms?
No, we don't need that.
Through you, God can speak, and you can win the planet back to Jesus in the kingdom of heaven.
Look,
you know, it
here's the
sounds
thing.
stupid. It's the same shit we're saying. You can be
This is
part of
why
it.
you can be part of it. This is why that civilization has never actually occurred. That like Christ consciousness governing body, because like oh well, the Christians had their chance all throughout the Dark Ages. You know, no, because that was a perverted form of Christ's teachings. You know, what Jesus actually taught in the New Testament is that you can have a direct line with God, a direct communion with Him, indwelling within you. You don't need this middleman of this church. You go and confess to the priest and all that. You don't need anyone in the way between you and God. All of us together as a community can build a better world. We can do our part, pull our weight, and be the change we want to see in the world. That's all there is to it.
And that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter how you say it. You can say it the medieval way. Yes, you can be the will of God. Change the plan for the kingdom of heaven. Or you can say, yeah, bro, you're the focal point. Join the legacy in the office of the Christ so that we can create an LZ, a landing zone. So we can start creating people to integrate us with the celestial personalities. Or you can choose the easy way out. You're crazy. This sounds stupid. I'm a materialist, and there's nothing other than materialism. You can be part of that band. You can be part of that wagon, that bandwagon. That's fine. In 2,000 years, when they read the history books, they're going to look back, and they're going to look at you like a dumb fuck. So, be part of the cutting edge. And join the Legacy FHP today. Buy a motherfucking shirt. Actually, fuck a shirt. Go fucking change someone's life.
There you go.
Thus, the Christ oh, wait, no. I want to reread that. Michael, the creator of this local universe. And this is the return of the programmers who do the Father's will, capitalize. Of ingathering the righteous from earth who will be graduated to go to other light life worlds. Getting the souls who are strong enough to overcome the 21st century entropy, to not let these negative thought forms overcome you and fester in your soul and turn you into a fucking zombie, just spitting it out to other people, but being righteous and spreading the truth, mind, body, spirit concepts that fucking make other people uplift, that make their chest stick out a little bit, that give those people that motivation to keep going forward. That is what he's trying to ingather, to graduate, to cultivate those personalities for higher cosmic duty. Do you understand what you're getting fucking put through right now? A test, a mind, body, spirit test on a cosmic scale. And they want personalities for specific special missions, specific special operations. You can be part of that. So I just said the words. I hope it fucking stirred something in your soul, or you can go back to your vomit like a dog.
Well, yeah. Can you imagine if that is the casual conversation you have with your comrades, with your associates, with your coworkers, is high celestial ideographic images, you know, these advanced concepts. I mean, like, just me and a security guard at work today, we're talking about the incomprehensible. We were trying to talk about the DMT realm and how, what if it is the programming language behind the reality we see, and how that's like, I mean, we haven't tried DMT, we're just speculating, but still, we're talking about something we can't comprehend. DMT. We got to hear those stories when we have the time for it. But like, it's so much fun to talk about the incomprehensible, to talk about the mysteries. I mean, what's beautiful about science is that we can wrap our mind around nature and the world and begin to understand it. But it's so much fun to also talk about, to use that as a foundation to talk about what we don't understand, what we can't understand, what we can't prove and validate. And that is where the legacy is taking this to the next level.
Yes, sir.
Where we're trying to normalize these advanced, far out, mind bending concepts as something normal. You don't got to be looked at as a weirdo talking about this stuff. There shouldn't be a stigma around this.
Speak it with power. I'm tired of this shit trying to hide it because it sounds weird. That's stupid. Speak it with power because this is the future right here. God damn it, guys. Wake the fuck up. Do you guys want to be part of that cutting edge of humans? Come on. You got a chance right now to be a part of the greatest experiment to ever exist on the fucking universe. Don't throw it away. You're going to be pissed. All right. Thus, the righteous will be graduated. I'm going to see you guys on the mansion worlds, I swear to God. You guys better be running faster than me. You guys better be punching me in the face. Because if not, guess who's going to do that to you? Me. I don't give a fuck if we're in spirit world. I'm waking you up early. I'm fucking... Yeah, you already know the deal. Thus, the Christ consciousness will indwell in the consciousness of man who is centered within the pyramid. For only he will be able to leave this physical pyramidal life zone behind. He will be able to take the exodus across the Red Sea, the light vibrations of his sun system, into the Sea of Crystal, into the land of Israel, the land of the consciousness of light, which freely serves the Father in the many mansion worlds of light.
Nice.
Right. Like past the Red Sea. That's like Moses passing the Red Sea. It's like a totally symbologically. I don't know how you say it.
Symbologically, we'll just roll with that.
Okay. Yeah. Symbologically, it represents splitting the Earth, our planetary single red-orange sun system in half, splitting that Red Sea of red-orange low gravitational force.
I like that.
And going into the light vibrations of the Sea of Crystal, Sea of Glass, I don't know, the higher star systems.
All right.
The many mansions. So that's all you.
And the physical pyramid in Egypt is part of a single energy grid that connects with the land of Israel. Enoch explained that just as Egypt contains the architecture of the physical astronomical pyramid of man's destiny in space, Israel contains the spiritual architecture of the pyramid in its scriptures of the Torah Or. The Torah Or gives man the ability to fashion a pyramidal capstone of light consciousness within his body. For this is the necessary completion of his body, if he is to merge his spiritual energy with the Christ light of the higher evolution. Okay. When the scripture of Israel is combined with the pyramidal architecture of Egypt, the consciousness pyramid and the physical pyramid of the earth will become as one total unity. This pyramidal unity explains why Joseph, as the offspring of Jacob, and Jesus were initiated into the pyramid in Egypt, and why Moses was instructed in all the wisdom of Egypt. Acts 7:22. Under the leadership, the race of Israel, created in Egypt under the command of Jehovah, was to go forth to demonstrate the unity with the father and mother elements of physical and spiritual birth and rebirth. This has been the process of the old program being brought to completion. In the new age, we will go beyond the planetary level of evolution into the myriad star kingdoms of the infinite way. The reprogramming of the physical consciousness will take place in 12 major crystalline regions around the Earth. These 12 major regions are all focused towards the Great Pyramid, which is the central alignment for major star positions controlling the geomagnetic grids of the Earth. Into these 12 pyramidal regions, the capstone of light will come down to complete the changing of the spiritual hierarchy. This will be the time when the 12 tribes of the physical Israel and the 12 consciousness levels of the spiritual Israel will unite around each manifestation of the Eben Sheltia. That's interesting. Now, it sounded like he was kind of hinting at, Moses being initiated at the pyramid, and he even hinted at Egypt, at Jesus traveling to Egypt. Now, that's an interesting thought. I met this guy once years ago who was a part of a church he called the Aquarian Church of Christ. And they claimed that during the missing years of Jesus' life, Jesus had actually traveled to Egypt. Now, that doesn't corroborate with the Urantia book. We know from that,
It does
during the
not.
missing years, he goes
But,
off.
but it doesn't say everything either.
It doesn't say everything. I mean, we can't roll it out. Some we can't really prove. I think J.J. Hurtak mentioned that because maybe that's his understanding of it. I can't put too much weight on that because the general concept there.
Also remember the
pretty cool.
celestial technique for integrating revelation with human beings is to meet the humans where they're at, right? So that could, in 1973, that could have been one of the prevailing concepts in esoterica at the time. So he used that concept to make a bridge between,
We can give him that.
Yeah.
When you understand the grid structure of the Earth, you will see how the Great Pyramid is the central cornerstone within the New Jerusalem, which connects the pyramidal capstone of the Merkaba vehicle under the order of Melchizedek with the 12 consciousness light zones on this planet. Before this comes to pass, the Great Pyramid will be decoded, and all previous pyramidal science, from the squaring of the circle to calculating distant star positions, will be understood in relationship to the cosmic pyramid of Orion and the cradle model of our universe, the Pleiades, which governs the higher timepieces, the cosmic clocks. The mathematical harmonies coded within the Great Pyramid create an invisible timepiece of higher evolutionary movements as a clock placed on the face of the Great Pyramid. These mathematics tell us the angle of the slope of the outside of the Great Pyramid is 51 degrees, 51 feet and 14.3 inches. I don't know how to interpret that.
Yeah, you're right.
Am I? The altitude of the Great Pyramid is to the length of one side of the base as one is to half pi. The length of the antechamber multiplied by 100 is 11,626.02 pyramid inches. Using this figure as the diameter of a circle or the altitude of the pyramid as the radius of a circle, the circle is equal in area to a square whose side is 10,303.30 pyramid inches in length, thus squaring the circle. The squaring of the circle is one of the greatest mathematical problems known in the calculus of the ancient Egyptian priest scientists who were concerned with the greater solar movement, for it allowed them to use the astrophysical tables given by the higher evolution, which were placed in the pyramid. These showed how the human race within the squaring of the circle is directly related to the Hema, the Pleiades.
That's crazy. So that's that I'm like just now understanding this even more after we did the Kali Yuga episode. This is crazy.
Okay, tell me about it, because I'm wondering, why are those numbers relevant at all? They seem like
I don't know anything about those numbers, so we got to revisit those. Okay. I don't know shit about them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying
But what's your Kali Yuga connection there? I'm really curious.
So we revolve around the supermassive black hole in the center of the Milky Way, which is Sagittarius. I think somehow the Pleiades are tied into Sagittarius. Gotta look into it more. I sound like a fucking stoner. I don't know. I just know somehow they're tied into the procession.
Because you are a stoner.
Exactly. Checks out. And well, I like what it says right here. It says the astrophysical tables given by the higher evolution. No, it says the squaring of the circle allowed the Egyptian priests to unlock the astrophysical tables that were written by the higher evolution in the pyramid complexes. So it almost seems like the angels, the higher evolution, is what he uses as a catch-all term for the celestial personalities. So the higher evolution, because they're geometric based and no stellar mathematics and geometrics, the squaring of the circle is one of the hardest problems known to man. You know what that is, right? It's like
Yeah, it's
like
it's
a
from
formula
my
to figure out the area of a circle and the exact same area but extrapolated into a square.
yeah, I mean, from my understanding in music, when you're trying to create a square wave, it's really just a sine wave that's expanded, and you keep running these operations to like unround the sine wave. But if you were to like really zoom in on the square wave, it's never actually a perfect drop off. It's actually just like slightly rounded, and that can go into infinity, but it's always slightly rounded. So it's kind of impossible to get like a perfect square
Of the
mathematically
circle.
in that way of the
Yeah,
circle.
but
Yeah.
the Egyptians were the first to do it, according to even our history books. The
Oh,
Egyptians could do it. So, but the reason, like, it's weird in our history books, we attribute that to the Egyptians. Oh my God, they squared the circle to the first people. But Hurtak is saying that the higher evolution, the celestials, they knew this obviously because they're billion years old, and they encoded it into the pyramid complex, and the Egyptian priests learned this, and that was the way they were able to decode the tables. So that
hmm.
squaring of the circle was their codex, like their cipher, so that they could finally read the rest of the pyramid tables and understand the rest of the movement of the stars. But
Hmm.
honestly, I want to call it here before we
Okay.
dump it, because the other paragraphs we get a lot more mathematical. Honestly, viewers, I do not know when we're going to pick up this paper. We will probably pick it up during a week where we might not really know what to talk about. So we'll just be like, let's pick this up. But let's try to pick it up sooner than later. We got some deep underground
Yeah.
military bases and some private government institutes who run these military bases. That's in one of the live streams coming up. So hit that subscribe button so you are up to date with all the celestial broadcasts.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. There's a lot of information coming out now that's telling you how our government has been highly involved with the UFO subject and tied in with the Space Brothers, and even recovered some of the material from some of their crafts. Whether these crafts are from positive entities or negative entities, that's up for debate, but we'll go into those episodes. So I hope you guys enjoy this. We try to unravel some of the secrets behind the Pyramid of Giza complex. We try to go into the technology behind the huge front page story of secret chambers and secret temples and secret cities found under the pyramids. And then we went directly to the source. The first guy who started talking about the grandfather of Egyptian esoteric Egyptology, J.J. Hurtak. And this is from the Keys of Enoch itself. We're going to pick it up in the next live stream, so stay locked. Come check out these motherfucking shirts. They look hot. If you've
Gotta
been
mention
listening
it
to
just
the
one more
entire...
time.
I doubt you just fucking fast forwarded it to this part, but if you just did fast forward it to this part and you didn't hear all the other things, go check out the shirts. We're trying to build funds because we live in the three-dimensional reality and we have to use material resources in order to further our endeavors. And by you contributing to some of these shirts, you will help us build a mind, body, spirit kingdom on planet Earth. And we will help everybody and yourself hit your potential mentally, physically, and spiritually, so that when we die, we can all wake up on the highest level possible, the highest mansion world possible. You can help us out by buying a shirt. We only make $9 profit. It's only $21 to make it. I mean, it's only I'm fucking up my words. $9 profit. That's what we make. $21 to manufacture the shit. Only $30 to buy it. Go buy it. Fuck
Please.
buying it. Fuck these t-shirts. I don't give a shit. You better not watch another video. I don't want you to waste any of your time watching any of our videos. You better get up off your ass, grow in the mind, body, spirit every single day, and help other people do the same. If you do
There you
that,
go.
and if you do that for 15, 20 people, you can take these shirts and wipe your ass with them every day of your life, and it'll shake your hand. Okay, so go save another soul out there. But you know, if you're like, I'm busy, D-Bag, sorry, I got a job and kids, I get it. Buy yourself a shirt. Go check them out. They look hot. Legacy FHP all
There
over
you
your
go.
chest. Hit that subscribe button. We are not used to doing these late night fucking live streams. It's 11:30. I'm about to pass out, so I'm gonna pass out and go to the pyramids myself. Meet me there when you're falling asleep. Just put out that bat signal. Say Legacy FHP, Deep Bake Magma Sloth, Pyramid. If you keep repeating that when you're
I'll meet
falling
you there.
asleep, I'm gonna repeat that when I'm falling asleep. So we might share a dream. And if you do share a dream with me, you better join the next live stream and leave a comment. Because if that just starts happening, we're gonna start a little thing.
Yeah, we're
So-
gonna meet on the hill, the Great Pyramid of Giza, and maybe
Amen.
in our dreams we can astral project deep down in there and finally figure out, get to the bottom of this mystery, see what's down there.
So much to unravel, so little time. We'll pick it back up. We're gonna finish this key 108. I hope you guys
Part
enjoyed
2.
the show.
Coming up.
Again, hit that subscribe button. Go watch our other videos. We just watched a Lucifer Rebellion video with a pretty cool cinematic intro. We want to hear your thoughts. We want to hear if it fucking is inspirational or if it looks like AI slop. It don't matter. We just want to know. Leave your comment. Hit that like button. Helps get this information to the front page. Part 2 coming soon. We do have another episode coming out this weekend, and we have this week, and we have another live stream coming out next weekend, or this weekend. So stay tuned. D-Bake the Wise, Magma Sloth.
Magma Sloth.
Live long and prosper. Until next time, thanks for tuning in. We love you guys.
That's right. Stay hungry for the truth.
Amen.